veteran Colin Miller. He had 109 points this year. Chris Simon, an intimidator and a big part of Sault Ste. Marie's attack. He's a Philadelphia Flyers draft pick. And there's local product Jarrett Reid, 20 power play goals, and visions of a title once again dancing in his eyes. Speaking of vision, Todd Simon has it. 146 points and a deft touch around the net. Steve Scales is a draft pick of the St. Louis Blues and a big pace setter for Niagara Falls. And Rick Corvo is in his 5th year in this league, and he hopes finally to look up at his championship banner. TSN presents the Sears Bell tonight. Tonight's game from the Memorial Gardens in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario is brought to you by Molson Canadian. It's what beer is all about. And by Shell, from exploration to your neighborhood station. Shell helps. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it. It's hockey night in Sault Ste. Marie. Game 1 of the 1992 Emms Division Championship Final between the Niagara Falls Thunder and the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. And hello everybody, I'm Paul Romanoff. This should be a great hockey game, and it's taking place in a great hockey town. It's almost 3 years ago since this team, many people thought, had been sold and was going to be moved out of the city. But the community rallied, and we now have a season ticket base of over 2,200. All of them are here tonight, and they're going to make a lot of noise. And they've watched two very good teams the last 2 years. Last season, Sault Ste. Marie won it all in the Ontario Hockey League, and this year they're on their way to another shot at a title. You see how they got here? They had a bye in round 1 because of the first place finish, and then a 4-3 win over a gritty and injured Kitchener team. Niagara Falls, a round 1, 4-3 win over Detroit, and then round 2, a 4-1 win over the London Knights. Now, one of the key players for the Niagara Falls Thunder, unquestionably, has been forward Chris Simon. Simon lacks a little bit in stature. He's a smaller player, and as a result, hasn't piqued a lot of interest from NHL scouts. But boy, can he score. He has a deft touch around the net. He not only leads Niagara Falls in scoring, but all playoff scores, 13 goals and 21 assists. And we saw a few examples of just how slick he is around the net the other night in a game against London. Simon is a guy, predictably, who gets up for the big game. He loves the challenge.
Well, I like the big games, you know. Ever since I was a little guy playing, there's always been the big game, and, you know, the town I needed to be a strong. But, you know, I like it because, you know, I like playing the game. It's just a lot of fun when it's touched on the ice.
I have another guy who responds when pressure's in the line is Bob McKenzie, who joins us now. Your old stomping ground, Sault Ste. Marie. I know you're happy to be back here, and what can we expect from this team?
Well, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds are much more physical, big, banging team than the Niagara Falls Thunder, and also maybe a little bit quicker. One of the aspects of this game we can watch all game long, a couple of big left wingers for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, Chris Simon and Tony Robb. These two big guys are intimidators. They go in, they bang the guys off the puck, and their game plan, or their mission tonight, if they should expect, besides your skeptic, is to get in, force turnovers in the Niagara Falls end, and keep that Niagara Falls defense from being able to get the puck up to Todd Simon.
They have dominated Niagara Falls going back the last couple of years, going back last year to the playoffs when they swept them in 4 games straight.
So it's a psychological factor for the Niagara Falls Thunder. They haven't won a game in here all year long. In fact, the only point they've got off the Greyhounds was a tie last year in January.
All right, we're going to be all over the junior hockey scene right across Canada tonight. Coming up during our first intermission, we will speak live with Peter Anholm, the head coach of the Seattle Thunderbirds. They're getting set for a big playoff game tonight against the Kamloops Blazers. We'll speak to him. And then during the second intermission, we will speak with Bert Templeton, head coach of the North Bay Centennials. They are gridlocked in a late division championship series against the Peterborough Pete's. The series they lead 1-0. Coming up tonight, game 1 of the 1992 Emms Division Championship Series. It's the Thunder and the Greyhounds next on TSN. 16 times these teams have met. Sault Ste. Marie has won 14 of the games and only lost once. The last time Niagara Falls beat them was January of 1991. In goal tonight for the Niagara Falls Thunder, Manny Legacy. Manny feel he's the big reason the Thunder are still playing, not to take anything away from the team, but he has been absolutely brilliant. as makes Kevin Hodson. Look at that playoff goals against average, 1.97. Referee tonight is Ontario Hockey League veteran Bill Krasniak, Al Kimmel, and Bill Webb are on the line. And we are set to face off in Game 1 of this Division Championship Series. It is a rematch of last year, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, it is a series that a powerful Sault Ste. Marie team swept in 4 straight. The battle will be much tougher this year, no doubt. Puck jumped down into Sault Ste. Marie territory, and there'll be lots of hitting. This will be a physical series and a physical game. Greyhounds in white, the Thunder in black. Bouncing puck loose in front, Maxwell couldn't get underneath that one. Bumped along the boards by Bannister. Puck comes loose. Thunder swarming in the early going. Mike DeCoff down in the corner. He's a former Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound player. He was on that championship team last year. DeCoff along the board, couldn't keep it in. And here come the Greyhounds. Kowalsky breaks in. He hit the side of the net. Tries to get it back out in front. Loose puck at the side. Kowalsky, another shot. That one ricochets off the leg and back out to neutral territory. Quick start for both teams. Here's Bannister. Long pass up to Kowalsky. Legging in over the blue line, trying to battle his way there. Gets it in front. What a shot by Legacy. Back out towards the line. Shovel back in by Imber. Here's Kowalsky. Right in front. Couple of whacks at it there for Chris Simon. And Legacy will hold the fort. What else is new?
Some great action early on both ends. Manny Legacy coming up big on big Chris Simon. Chris Simon all over Legacy in front. And he's going to have a tough time keeping Simon out of his face tonight. Watch Intranuovo, number 14, pick up the rebound coming back out in front here. This is Kowalsky with the shot. A good work here by Kowalsky, the captain of the team. And there's Intranuovo with the rebound. Now watch Simon in front. His number 18 is going to be a tough man to move. A Philadelphia Flyers draft pick, 225 pounds.
Miller on the face-off, number 88. He led the team scoring last year and the year before. He finished second in team scoring this year. He's knocked off the puck there, and here come the Thunder. Denomme moving it up along the board. Simon couldn't knock it down. Corvo. Picked up by Morrow. Knocked down into the corner. Briane Gavey brings it up around the glass. It bounces around. Yard trying to come out, number 77. And here comes Yard, and over the line with Denomme. Denomme, wait, shoot, score! Jason Denomme makes it 1-0 for the Greyhounds.
Denomme does a great job of using Tony Yob as a decoy. You'll see a pinching at the blue line there by Big Dan Crisco. Doesn't do a good job of pinching at the blue line. Denomme comes in, picks it up. Watch Yob at the left of your screen, and you'll see a great job of the decoy right there. Goaltender Legacy wasn't quite sure which way to go with that one, and Denomme comes in. That's his first goal of the playoffs. The flip leg was deflected off the defense's leg and into the net behind Legacy.
Yob will pick up one of the assists. The goal coming at 1:44. Denomme gets it, and the Greyhounds leap out of the gate with a 1-0 lead. Here's Campbell at the line for the Thunder. He'll slide it down into the corner. Number 66 for Sault Ste. Marie. Peter Johansson can't get it out. He'll get another crack at it here. Johansson watched along the board. Duncan trying to get it in front, and he's tied up. Here's Moore. Inside up there by Matsos, buzzing around him, and the Greyhounds caught on the outside.
Not a good start for the Niagara Falls Thunder. Coach Dirk Burnett obviously not happy at the way things are going. I talked to him before the game. He says we have to get a quick start against this team. We've had no success against them from an emotional and psychological point of view. We really need to get rolling. And so often has been the case. It's been Sault Ste. Marie that's got into the early lead. And now the Thunder has to be careful. Sault Ste. Marie loves to score goals in bunches. They get one, quite often they get 3 or 4. He's got to hold the fort now and then generate some offense.
Strangely enough, during the season series, Sault Ste. Marie were outshot by Niagara Falls 205 to 98. And yet they still managed to score no more than 4 goals in the game.
George Burnett was talking about that. He said we get outshot 2-1, yet we're outscored 2-1. It makes no sense. It gives you an idea how good a goaltender Kevin Hodson is. for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
Johansson firing that in, but offside called on the Greyhounds. 17:23 to go in the first period. 1-0, Sault Ste. Marie leading.
Well, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds were very fortunate to get out of a 7-game series with the Kitchener Rangers. Coach Ted Nolan thinks this team took the Rangers a little bit for granted. Often happens, the team that finishes in first place in the division playing somebody down around the 4th or 5th slot. You get in the playoffs, anything can happen. Coach Ted Nolan having to go to a 7th game against those Rangers.
What a coaching job Kitchener coach Joe MacDonald did. His team decimated by injuries as well as a suspension, and they took the mighty Greyhounds to 7 games. They were pummeled in the final game as it was 7-1, but still to take them that far with a lineup that was hurting. Here's Miller. Outlets to Yob. It was over his stick. Yob furling in there after it, number 77. He'll pick it up along the board. Miller was going for the front of the net. Yob has it now. Miller shoots. That's knocked away. Here's Imber. A wrist shot, and that's ricocheted up over the glass by Manny Legacy. We'll get another stoppage with 16:53 to go in the first period.
Well, we're going to see an awful lot of Todd Simon tonight for the Niagara Falls Thunder. The leading scorer in the regular season, the leading scorer in the playoffs as well. And the top scorer in the playoffs for Sault Ste. Marie, Tony Yob. Tony Yob, much different player than Todd Simon. He gives you a lot more grit than Simon does. Simon's more of a pure offensive talent. Yob is a real disturber out there. We try to get things going in front of the net and in the corners.
He is the oldest player in the league, 21 years, 3 months. And a big part of the Greyhounds power play that we'll no doubt get a look at a little bit later on tonight. He had 15 power play goals. Here's Miller. Back to Goudie at the blue line. Tight ropes along the line, and it came out. Al Kimmel, the linesman, was right there to make the call. And another offside call against St. Marie. 1-0, the Greyhounds leading. Denomme scoring at 1:44 from Tony Yob. And that's all the offense we have to speak of so far.
Actually, it was a good thing that that pass was offside there. The Niagara Falls Thunder took that errant pass from Brian Goudie. And Goudie was lucky that the whistle blew that they weren't caught on a 3-on-2 situation. Goudie, a real tough customer from the Paz in Manitoba.
And he was a free agent signing back in 1990.
Paid his own way down on the bus for a tryout, made the team, and has been here ever since. Second year with the Greyhounds.
And that story also holds true to Kevin Hodson, the brilliant Sault Ste. Marie goaltender. Denomme. Back along the boards for Goudie. Back up to Denomme. Here's Miller in front. Shoots! Legacy shot to the play has been called. That puck was gloved ahead. So a play being whistled down by referee Bill Prisniak. You're watching the CHL tonight on TSN. About 4,500 crammed into the cozy confines here in Sault Ste. Marie to watch Game 1 of this Emms Division Final. And they're watching the hometown Greyhounds off to a good start. I'm Paul Romanoff with Bob McKenzie. Great to have you with us. CHL tonight playoff coverage. Carter shoveling the puck down for Niagara Falls into the Sault Ste. Marie zone. Bannister trying to get it out. Maxwell tried to hammer it down, but here's DeCoff in front. Scores! Great shot by DeCoff and Rick High.
Mike DeCoff, a former Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound, does a great job in the corner, one-on-one along the boards against Drew Bannister. You see him here. It looks like he's pinned up against the boards, but he gets away from the Sault Ste. Marie defenseman, curls around in front of the net, and just hits the corner on Kevin Hodson. It's just a good, strong effort here. Drew Bannister should have pinned him up against the boards, was unable to, and DeCoff comes down and just fires a bullet by Hodson, low to the glove side.
Maxwell will pick up an assist, and the goal coming at 3:53. DeCoff gets it against his former team, and we are all knotted up at 1. Here's Maxwell up after it. He fires that one right through the crease. Up around the board. DeCoff after the game, number 14 in the corner. This time he's tied up. And away come the Greyhounds. Intranuovo up to Kowalsky. Back for Intranuovo. Touch in front. It's 10. Scores! Intranuovo puts the Greyhounds up 2-1. A bad clearing pass by the Thunder. Give the puck away. Steve Sales right inside the blue line. They have control of the puck right here. And you'll see Steve Sales just fire that puck directly into the glove of Ralph Intranuovo. And this guy is too dangerous. A 50-goal man, 113-point man who puts it by Legacy low to the stick side. Kowalsky does a nice job of trying to dip it into the middle.
Puck goes to Sales and gives it up. Intranuovo puts it low past Legacy.
4:14, the time of the goal. Intranuovo gets it, and it's 2-1. Sault Ste. Marie on top. Intranuovo, the leading scorer for the Greyhounds, and he had a glorious chance there and clicked on it. Thunder trying to come back in. Campbell moving it back out into Sault Ste. Marie territory. Hodson will leave it there for Johansson. He's given a buff along the board. Johansson with it again. Campbell pinched up but couldn't keep it in, and he gets caught. Here comes Jarrett Reid. Fired one, but Corvo got a piece of that. Down into the corner. MacDonald going after it. Couldn't keep it in, and the Thunder come back out. Long shot. Puck fired in there by Jason Clark. Hodson will deal that off to Johansson. Ricochets it up around the board. Here's Matsos. Up ahead to Jarrett Reid. Puck rolling on him, but he gets a collar on it and comes in. Reid barging in. Centers it right in front of the net. And it goes right through the crease to the other side. Great rush by Reid as he battled his way in the left wing. Back comes Sales. Puts on the brakes and waits for some help. Thunder were on a line change. There's a loose puck, a giveaway at the side, and a great chance. Closing in front was Ethan Morrow. Here's a chance now for Simon. Hodson to save, and he'll hang on to it. Was Hodson ever lucky there?
Well, Kevin Hodson got all fouled up behind the net with defenseman Shaun Imber to set it down. They gave the puck away and came back out in front. Almost for him, but Todd Simon ends up making a pass here, and he redirects that one very quickly. And Kevin Hodson comes up with the save. Kevin Hodson, another native Manitoban playing for the Sault Ste. Marie team from the Winnipeg area. Came as a free agent in the camp like defenseman Briane Goudie. And they traded a goaltender by the name of Mike Fountain when Hodson established himself. Fountain has gone on to be the #1 goaltender with the Oshawa Generals. Sault Ste. Marie Oshawa, two of the best goaltenders in the league.
Here's Sales. Across the Schuster. He just jumped it down into the corner. Here's Goudie. Didn't have much room up around the board. Sales pinching up but couldn't keep it in. And here comes Yob. Denomme breaking for the net. Yob trying to battle his way in there, but there was nothing doing there. Yob was outsized considerably. Morrow along the board. Tied up by Denomme. Poked loose there by Miller. He's jumped in the play. No penalty call. The fans thought there should have been one. When the hometown fans not think that. Here's Imber. Sales has to wait for his mates to get on side. He finally dumps it in. Goudie back there to break it up. Lead pass for Colin Miller. Breaking in his yard. Shoots. Rebound in front. Knocked away. Takes shot by Legacy. Denomme up along the boards into Yob. Miller was breaking for the front. He'll pick it up now. Miller buzzing around there in the corner, back at the line. That's fired in high and wide by Mark Mathieu. Here's Kowalsky in the corner. He's got Miller in front. Kowalsky losing his helmet and the puck. And his balance. Morrow will just dump it in over the Sault Ste. Marie line. The Thunder making some changes. Mathieu up along the boards. Here comes Kowalsky. Shoots. Rebound there at the side. They grab out. It's loose in front of the net. Cleared away by DeCoff. Out comes Watson. Number 25. Here to snap it down and in for the Thunder. Hodson leaving it there. Bannister up off the boards. Maxwell moves up. Can't keep it in. Intranuovo is trying to come back and play is called.
Well, the Niagara Falls Thunder are getting in all sorts of trouble here at the two blue lines. At the offensive blue line, the Niagara Falls defensemen are pinching in, and they've been caught at least 4 times that I can count so far in this game. Down at their own blue line, the defensive blue line, they're getting burned back by Sault Ste. Marie speed. Guys like Ralph Intranuovo, Rick Kowalsky, Tony Yob, all breaking to the outside and quite often beating the Niagara Falls defense and coming in and getting a shot in on Manny Legacy.
Here's how things went during the regular season. And as I mentioned, the last time an Niagara Falls team beat Sault Ste. Marie, you have to go back to January of 1991. Sault Ste. Marie unbeaten in the last 13 against Niagara Falls. In the last 16, they are 14-1-1. gloved ahead there, by the way. That was why the whistle. There seemed to be some confusion, a little conference amongst the linesmen, and the referee solved it. Kowalsky along the board. Sales will keep it in. Up for Maxwell. Got just past him. Here's Mathieu. Bannister. Up the middle. Intranuovo, number 14, digs it in along the board. It is 2-1. Sault Ste. Marie leading Niagara Falls. Game 1 of the Ontario Hockey League semifinals. Back to the line for Mathieu. Takes the shot. Works it up. A battle there at the line. Kowalsky trying to keep it in. Can't do it. DeCoff coming back. Up ahead to Maxwell. Trying to split the defense. And Maxwell couldn't sneak through. He was ultimately pulled down by Mathieu. Here's Carter stepping up. A weak shot in. Bouncing around Simon. He's dangerous. Simon from the side. Almost jammed it in. And play is called as Hodson will hang on to it. But boy, did Todd Simon come close.
Well, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds are into a little trouble there with Todd Simon behind the net. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds hoping to end what they call the GSN this fall. They've been on GSN 5 occasions. Once in the playoffs last year against Oshawa. They lost that game, but they went on to that. And then Sault Ste. Marie lost all 3 games to the Memorial Cup and then won earlier this year. But now, for the first time on GSN, they're on home ice. And look at the difference when this team is on home ice. Look at that record. 1 game under 500 on the road. And look at the goals for and against. Just a huge swing when this team is at home. The penalty minutes as well. They're a tougher team. They score more goals. And they also much better defensively when they're here at the Sault Memorial Garden.
Well, they lead this one by a score of 2-1. Here's Miller. For Sault Ste. Marie up ahead there for a job. The pass went to the other side. Sales. Up off the boards. He picks it up again. Here's Morrow on the move. Morrow waiting for some help to come up. Gets in there. He's got Brown up to join him. Tried to work it across. Morrow again. To Simon. Brown is in front. Simon still centers it. Morrow with a shot, and Hodson steers that one clear. Brown going after it. Tied up along the board. Number 34, Brown gets it loose to Simon. Trying to center it. A couple of swats at it. Brown after the game. There's Simon chopping at that puck. Picked up. Up around the board, Sales. Moving it in. Here's Sales at the line. Good work to keep it in. Down into the corner now. Imber off the board. Here's Campbell, a wrist shot. That's into Hodson, and he is going to hang on.
Well, a great shift for the Thunder, and especially good shift for Todd Simon. You know, Todd Simon is not very big. Less than 6 feet. You'll see a little of the intimidation right there. Tony Robb giving Todd Simon a pretty good going over. They will try to intimidate him. They'll have a tough time doing that. He's not a big guy. Less than 6 feet tall. He's not 200 pounds. He's not a particularly fast player, but he's ever so smart. Very crafty with the puck. And so far in this game, every time he's been on the ice, they've had a flurry of offensive opportunities. And he's been great this year against the Greyhounds. In their meetings, 6 meetings, 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points. The top leading scorer on the Thunder team against the Hounds.
He had 125 points last year, another 146 this year, and still not enough interest from NHL teams, which has to be a bit surprising.
Well, again, when you're not 6 feet tall, you're not 200 pounds, and you don't skate like the win, the NHL snakes certainly look at you as if you can't make it. So he'll have a long way to prove himself, but if he's as good as we believe he is, then that'll win out in the end.
Todd Gleason, number 3 for the Greyhounds in close quarters down there in the corner, being worked over. And the puck slipped by Corriveau and down the ice. Icing called on Sault Ste. Marie with 10:09 to go in the first period. 2-1, the Greyhounds leading. Denomme and Intranuovo scoring for Sault Ste. Marie. DeCoff got the goal for Niagara Falls.
You know, Paul, these two teams have forged reputations on defensive hockey. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds are the #1 defensive team in the Ontario Hockey League. George Burnett of the Thunder loves to play the defensive style, play attention game, wait for his chances. So far, both of these teams have made a lot of mistakes, a lot of defensive errors in this game. I'm also getting a little physical right there, as to be expected.
Just a few of the many away from the puck battles that we'll see tonight. Duncan kicking it in front, can't score! Jason Clark banging it home, and we're tied.
Well, the front of the net is where games are won and lost, and on that battle, Jason Clark had it all over Peter Johansson. Swedish defenseman just can't handle Big Clark in front of the net. It was one of those one-on-one battles, to tell the tale. You see Crystal with the puck back on the point and keeps it in. He puts his shot out into the slot and just kicks it head soccer style into the middle, and right there, Clark gets his stick on it, so Hanson does have tied up, and just prior to that, the two of them were really battling. A lot of cross-checks, a lot of banging back and forth, but Clark was able to maintain his position, push off Johansson, and pick up that loose puck.
Clark noted mainly for his toughness. He had 215 penalty minutes this year, but right there he picked up his second goal of the playoffs. And it's a big one to tie this game up at 2. Here's Bannister for Sault Ste. Marie. Lead pass a little bit too far for Intranuovo. And it is tagged up there by Dan Crystal, and icing is called in Sault Ste. Marie.
Ralph Intranuovo, a young Mac graduate in his second year with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and he really epitomizes the speed that the Greyhounds have up front. He comes through the neutral zone as fast as any player in the Ontario Hockey League, and he is going to be a big headache all night long for the Niagara Falls defenseman. We've already seen that, him bursting up on the play, getting a good shot away.
Puck clear down into the corner now. This is Bannister for Sault Ste. Marie. Up to Kowalsky, who will just tip it down the ice. No icing called this time. Kowalsky up there trying to sweep it loose. DeCoff fires it in off the glass. Ends up on the back of the mesh, and Kevin Hodson raises the arm to signal that, and we'll get a stoppage. Live from Sault Ste. Marie, this is the CHL tonight. Clark, the goal scorer, Duncan and Crystal picking up the assist in that last Niagara Falls goal. And the goal coming at 10:07. We are tied up at 2. Hodson leaving it in back of the net there for the Greyhounds. Briane Goudie with it. Up off the board. Here's Denomme. Ahead for Miller, a little bit too far for him. Manny Legacy, the Niagara Falls goaltender, out to play it. Denomme up there, the forecheck, number 10, but he's tied up. Yard steals, trying to dip and dive his way towards the front. Long shot that's kicked away by Legacy. Here's Miller now, trying to center it in front. He's given a bit of a battle in there by Scott Campbell, and a penalty coming up, the first one of the game. Scott Campbell punching Miller in the back of the head, and that'll do it.
Well, Miller, a very crafty player. You have to keep your eye on him at all times. And he's dipping and diving in there, and he ends up punching to start this thing off with Scott Campbell in the head to get it going. Scott Campbell retaliated and got caught. See, there's the punch, the first one. Here's the second one, and when Miller goes down, referee Bill Frisniak whistled off the former Peterborough Peak defenseman who's picked up in a trade this year, a real defensive stalwart for Thunder, going off for 2 minutes for roughing. Coach George Burnett does not like to see the Sault Ste. Marie power play come out. He did a little calculation before the game. Said the Sault Ste. Marie power play operating at about a 40% efficiency against the Thunder this season. He said discipline's going to be a key.
10 for 23 this year. Sault Ste. Marie power play against Niagara Falls at 43% if you want to work it right out. What a great success ratio that is. And Simon gobbling up some valuable Sault Ste. Marie time. Offsetting penalties. So no power play chance this time. Simon up at center. Poked away. Here comes Sale. Couldn't navigate the blue line. It's poked back. Here's Schuster. Up ahead for Simon. Just went over his stick. Schuster again. Pass a little bit too far for Brown. He'll just crash it in off the board. And the Thunder make some changes in the fly. Goudie. Lead pass up for Kowalsky. Thought he had some room there on the right-hand side, but couldn't get by. Sale's back there to break it up. Duncan on the way back. In over the blue line with Simon. Here's Duncan. Shoot! Hodson the save. Rebound in front. McDeer going after it. And he will start back. Up ahead to Kowalsky. Up there with Intranuovo. Feathers it through for him, but Sales ties him up. Intranuovo lunging at that puck. Almost created a scoring chance. Seemingly out of nothing. Here's Intranuovo back to the line. McDeer back up for Intranuovo. He's being tied up there by Duncan. Puck loose in front, cornered in there for the Greyhounds, David Matsos, number 11. He chops at it. Here's Matsos, and play is called. He will pick up a slashing penalty. He landed a real whack down there back of the net and knocked his stick out of the defenseman's hand. And he was called for slashing. So the Thunder will now get themselves a power play chance.
David Matsos, a forechecker who loves to get in there early and be very aggressive. And there he just flashed the stick right over the hand of the Niagara Falls defender, picking up a 2-minute minor. So now we do have a power play. His last penalty block was coincidental. Now it's the Niagara Falls power play that kicks in, an opportunity for them to jump ahead here. Their power play not nearly as efficient, only 5 for 39 for 12% against the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
Here comes Corriveau, gathering speed. He stops now. He'll just jump it down into the corner. DeCoff going after it. He's up there with Maxwell. Corriveau back at the line. Down to the corner. It bounces out in front. Puck fired wide, stepping up and ripping it with Crystal. DeCoff. Back for Corriveau. Lots of traffic in front. Fires it through, and Hodson, a good job to follow that puck through the traffic. Right on his doorstep. Jarrett Reid couldn't clear it. Here's Crystal moving out there, and the puck comes outside the line. Offside called on the Thunder with 1:22 to go in their power play.
Well, referee Bill Priziak doing the game tonight, and the fans will be all over him tonight. This is the 8th playoff game for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds this season. Bill Priziak has done 4 of them. Now, I'm not saying Bill Priziak had anything to do with it, but the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds have lost all 3 prior games, and the fans, when they saw Priziak get on the ice tonight, were going absolutely wild. They don't think it's a coincidence. I think maybe the Greyhounds took those Rangers a little too much for granted in the first round and had more to do than the referee.
1 minute and 15 seconds to go in the Niagara Falls power play. 6:09 to go first period. A 2-2 hockey game. Game 1 of the Emms Division final in the Ontario Hockey League. Here's Imber. Up off the board, kept in at the line. Campbell steps up, shoots, Hodson the save. Loose puck out of left there. And cleared out by Goudie. Crystal clearing it back in with 49 seconds to go on the man advantage for the Thunder. Corriveau up there to forecheck. So was Brown. Neither could get it. And the Thunder will start from deep in their own zone with 40 seconds to go in the power play. And a 2-line pass that'll be called back.
Well, one of the quarterbacks out there on the power play at any other time for the Niagara Falls Thunder is Rick Corriveau, a young man who's had been being drafted by 2 National Hockey League teams. He was taken in the second round by the St. Louis Blues, but after undergoing major reconstructive knee surgery that really didn't respond, his junior career didn't take off the way that maybe he would have liked it to. The St. Louis Blues allowed him to go back into the draft, and he was picked up again by the Washington Capitals in the 8th round. So he's a capital prospect now.
Sales, the Niagara Falls captain, starts off from his own end with 26 seconds to go in the Thunder power play. Cardiff up ahead to the top, waits, shoots, scores! A power play goal, and the Thunder are up by 1.
Unless that was deflected in front of the net, and I don't believe it was, that was a shot that netminder Kevin Hodson most definitely should have had. It's a nice pass up to the top, and there's a little delay at the blue line, and no question about that one, just straight through. The goaltender Hodson should have had that shot from the top, just inside the blue line. Didn't look like it had a lot on it, but it might have been a bit of a knuckleball went between his legs.
The top second goal of the game, and it's a power play goal at 14:42. And for the first time in this game, Niagara Falls with the lead. Here comes the top again. He's been dangerous. Keeps one in. Hodson the save. Big rebound right through the slot. Back to the line. Cardiff keeps it in. Plays it down into the corner. Here's Imber. Kowalsky trying to chop it loose there for the Greyhounds. Cardiff keeps it in. Maxwell going after it. Number 26. Battling with Bannister. Good battle there. A couple of big players, and they get tied up along the boards. Puck comes back to Scales. Weak shot in there. That's cleared away by Hodson. McKeel weaving his way through center. In over the line. Up to Intranuovo. In on goal. Shoot. Just missed. Off the post. Legacy has to play it. Up around the boards. Good chance there for Intranuovo. What a shot. Here's Imber. Pulls away from the checker. Imber still with Kowalsky breaking in. He's got it now. Intranuovo cutting in towards the front. Couldn't get much on that shot. The puck is kind of going by him. Chris Simon, number 18 for Sault Ste. Marie, picks it up. To Intranuovo. Trying to center it in front. Intranuovo will get another chance. Kicks it loose. Look at Simon battling in front. He had a real battle going with Corvo. A couple of pretty good players. This is Todd Simon back the other way for Niagara Falls. Chris Simon took a run at him and missed. Loose puck in front. Scores! And Mike Hodson really looking rattled. And Simon the opportunist there, and it's 4-2 for the Thunder.
You said it, Paul. Netminder Kevin Hodson has trouble here. The puck kept in a good play by Kevin Brown to keep it in at the line. And then just Todd Simon jumping up, two Thunder players jumping on top of Hodson and deflecting this shot as he comes out to poke check it. You see him make the move, not quick enough. It's a little clumsy coming out of the net there. Neither one of them could have got that goal, but it looks as though it's going to go to Todd Simon. Nice play at the point by Kevin Brown to keep the puck in play. Not an offside call, and Todd Simon finishes it off.
Goal coming at 16-19. And Hodson not looking sharp at all. Here's Campbell. Rolling it in front. Park looking for it, but Hodson steers that away. Here's Reid. Up after it. Matsos is with him. Reid in there. Centers it in front of the net. Matsos will swipe at it. Rolled it right through the crease. A 2-on-1 for Sault Ste. Marie and a great chance. Delayed penalty coming up. And the delayed penalty against the Thunder. 2:54 to go in the first period. We'll be right back. Here's Sales. Reid and Intranuovo picking up the assist, by the way, on that Sault Ste. Marie power play goal from Tony Yob at 18-13. And here comes Jarrett Reid on the move. Tried to barge his way through. Simon's up there to help out. Working it around back of the net. Simon overstating it now. 46 seconds to play in the first period. And Simon was jumped back behind the play. And a penalty coming up against the Niagara Falls Thunder. It will be a roughing call. And it looks as though it's going to be Neil Schuster, number 3 of the Niagara Falls Thunder, who gave Chris Simon a bop back behind the play.
Schuster had all he could handle here with Chris Simon, 230-odd pounds. Maybe embellished it a little bit. The referee, Bill Krzyzak, watched it. Schuster playing in his first game back after separating his shoulder in Game 2 of the playoffs against the Detroit Ambassadors. He's one of the steadiest defensemen on Coach George Burnett's team, and they'll miss him being in the penalty box here. 41 seconds left. They've got to maintain their discipline in the final 41 seconds of this period. They've got a nice one-goal lead they'd love to take to the dressing room.
35 seconds to play in the opening period. 4-3, Sault Ste. Marie trailing. Miller up to Intranuovo. He'll snap it in. Yob up there to forecheck. He is hammered by Campbell. Legacy out there, can't get it out. Here's Imber with a shot. And Legacy back into position to knock it away. Here's Yob. Side of the net. Tried to tee it up there. Intranuovo back at the line, couldn't keep it in. 5 seconds to play in the period. Funny rebound off the board. Yob tries to center it. That's knocked away, and time runs out in the first period. It was a shaky period for Sault Ste. Marie goaltender Kevin Hodson, but his team helping him out offensively by putting 3 in behind Manny Legacy. Well, coming up during the first intermission, moments from now, we'll have an update from TSN Control. Tell you what else is going on in the sports world. No NHL hockey yet, but almost. CHL scoreboard. We'll check the other playoff action, and we will speak live with Seattle Thunderbird coach Peter Anholm. After one period, it's 4-3, Niagara Falls leading Sault Ste. Marie. Our first intermission is coming right up.
Hey, sports fans.
fans, what makes Sega Genesis New Joe Montana 2 Sports Talk football realistic? It's simple. He'll do once you put in a continuous play-by-play announcer. Let's go to the action.
First and 10. Faster pass. Better hurry. Push it up. Interception. First down.
Thunder could use a few Keith Primo-like heroics before this series is all said and done. They lead after one period by a score of 4-3. Let's see what else is going on in the sports world. We take you now back to our TSN Control Center.
Well, welcome to TSN Control, everyone. All is well with the world once again. The NHL strike is over, and baseball is into a new season. Toronto Blue Jays are off to their best start of franchise history today at the Skydome. They're looking to get a 5-0 against Baltimore. But Jack Morris needs a little help from his defense to stay out of trouble. Top of the first, Joe Carter robbed Joe Orsolak of a base hit. Sliding catch here. Then in the bottom of the inning, Kelly Gruber drives one the other way. Peter Martinez can't haul this one in. Dave Winfield will score. A triple for Kelly Gruber. Toronto is up 2-0. Now to the top of the third, Gruber comes through with the glove. He barehand Cal Whitten's slow roller, fires it off to first for John Olery, digs it out of the dirt. Winfield starts the Jays' 4-run third inning by beating out a bunt single. His injured hamstring must be feeling fine. And the Jays are threatening to score again. With 2 out in the inning, Devon White lines a single to center. Tony Maldonado, Pat Borders will both score. So the Jays do it. They improve to 5-0 after their best start in franchise history with a 7-2 win. Jack Morris picking up the second win as a Toronto Blue Jays. Now let's check in on the Expos. They were in New York to take on the Mets. It was a cold and wet afternoon at play. Lots of troops in the dugout. Brett Barber hits a shot here to center. Howard Johnson will move in on it. And it goes off of his glove. Barber is straight to first. Mets right fielder Bobby Bonilla shows Johnson how this is done. He robs Gary Carter of a base hit. And a great hustle award of the game. It goes to Marquise Prism. David Cohen throws a pitch into the dirt. Prism is at second. He is legging this up, and he is safe. But the unusual plays continue for the Expos. The Fractal hits the bases loaded single up the middle. 3 runs will come into count. And the Expos defeat the New York Mets by a final of 9-2. Dennis Martinez picking up the win. Now let's check in with the Masters. It is being played out in Augusta, Georgia. Thunderstorms and rain delayed play, but as a result, many players have not finished. Ray Floyd, Craig Perry, they are at 10 under still on the flat floor. But Rick Price is off the course. He is at 8 under. They will complete the round tomorrow morning. That's it for this update. I'll be back with more later on. Now back to Paul Roman.
All right, thank you very much, Teresa. And the situation back here after one period of play, we have a 4-3 game. Niagara Falls leading Sault Ste. Marie. Time now to take a look around Canadian Junior Hockey and tell you what's going on elsewhere. We'll start things out with the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And the situation there is that they are getting down to the nitty-gritty. Some pretty good teams working their ways down through the playoffs. And coming up in the semifinal, action tomorrow, Laval will play Trois-Rivières. That game starts at 7:30, and that series, as it stands, is 0-0. They will be starting tomorrow, Laval and Trois-Rivières. Also, semifinal action tomorrow, Shawinigan will play Verdun. That is also coming up at 7:30 Eastern Time as the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League playoffs move their way down towards the final. And who knows who we're going to see out in Seattle when Memorial Cup starts in about another month or so, just a few weeks away. In the Ontario Hockey League, great start to the Leighton Division Championship Series. The game going on between the Peterborough Peace and the North Bay Centennials. North Bay winning game 1 by a score of 4-3. It all came down to overtime. We will have highlights of game 1 coming up during our second intermission, but it came down to overtime, and Chad Penny scored the winner for North Bay in Peterborough. They lead that series by a margin of 1-0. We're taking our attention out west. Jack Scoop, the general manager of the Medicine Hat Tigers, was relieved of his duties this week. That came as somewhat of a surprise to junior hockey observers across the country, although those in the know in Medicine Hat have spoken, so it wasn't really that big a surprise on the local level. But once again, Jack Scoop no longer the general manager with the Medicine Hat Tigers. And also news with the Cornwall Royals in the Ontario Hockey League. I guess you can call this positive news. We have been critical in the past few weeks of Willie Wise, who is the owner and basically chief cook and bottle washer. He is everything with the Cornwall Royals. There was talk that the team was all but moved to Newmarket, something that didn't fit all that well with the community in Cornwall. Cornwall has a very good heritage in terms of junior hockey, a couple of Memorial Cup championships back when Dale Howarchuk was with the team. However, there is a season ticket drive alive and well in Cornwall. They have done very good so far selling season packages, and it looks as though the community is set to make a bit of a commitment to the Royals, and they may well be there next year. We will be back here in Sault Ste. Marie momentarily to continue our second intermission. The score after one period of play, 4-3 Niagara Falls leading the hometown Greyhounds. More in a moment. Well, it was an offensive feat of sorts in the first period. 7 goals scored. It's 4-3 after one period. Niagara Falls leading Sault Ste. Marie as our first intermission continues. We talked about the playoff pictures in both the Ontario Hockey League and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Out west, as is the case in the other two leagues, they are getting down to the nitty-gritty, as they say. Western Hockey League Eastern Final tonight. Saskatoon against Prince Albert. That game starts about 1 hour from now, 9:30 Eastern Time. Saskatoon and PA. That should be a tremendous matchup. It is a great rivalry on its own, never mind compounding it into the league semifinal. And also coming up, the Seattle Thunderbirds against the Kamloops Blazers. 10:30 Eastern Time, that game gets underway. And we are fortunate to have joining us in a few moments Peter Anhold, who is the head coach of the Seattle Thunderbirds. It'll be interesting to hear his thoughts heading into this game. He has to be feeling pretty good. I mean, his team's in the Memorial Cup Championship anyway as the host team, but the longer they can keep playing hockey, the harder the team's going to be.
Well, I know there's a lot of internal pressure with the Seattle Thunderbirds to try and keep it going as long as possible, because the longer they keep playing hockey, the more tickets they're going to sell for the Memorial Cup. If they go out right now against the Kamloops Blazers, then it's going to decrease the interest come the middle of May.
And Peter joins us now via telephone from Kamloops just a short while before the game. And Peter, any butterflies at all heading into this series? Sure. The first question I was going to ask you, any butterflies at all heading into this series?
Well, I think going to a playoff series, a little bit antsy. I think along with the players and the coaching staff, everybody has a few butterflies.
Peter, are you feeling like the proverbial underdogs because you're going up against just a Titanic Kamloops team with Niedermeyer back at the blue line and Fedor? That has got to be a tough road to hoe for you guys.
Well, their team defense is outstanding, Paul. I think when you look at the way they play, they play in front of Corey Hurst, who is an outstanding goaltender, and then they've added Niedermeyer and Fedor throughout the season, and they've got a number of other excellent defensemen, too. So the get to the net is very, very tough, and when you do, you have a tough time scoring. But, I think our team has really come together here of late, and we're really pleased with the way our team has played in the playoffs. Chris Osgood has been outstanding in the playoffs, and guys like Timby Daniels and Mike Kennedy have been excellent.
Peter, you mentioned Timby Daniels. He's a key acquisition for you, Philadelphia Flyer prospect that you picked up late in the season. I know late in the regular season there were some problems in terms of the intensity level that he was showing and that overall the effort. Is everything going well with Timby now? Is he fitting in well with your team?
Yeah, he's fitting real well here of late. And the thing about Timby is he does really want to win, and he had some problems late in the season, but for the most part they were handled internally, and I think he's done a great job adjusting now going into the playoffs, and he has played very, very well, both offensively and defensively.
Peter, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Peter Anhold, head coach of the Seattle Thunderbirds, and they're only hours away from the first game of their semifinal series against the Kamloops Blazers. Of course, we know for sure that we will see Seattle at the Memorial Cup Championship. Of course, they're the host team, but it could be a great show if they're there, and certainly if you toss in another Western Hockey League champion team. We're looking forward to covering the Memorial Cup May 9th to 17th on TSN, and looking forward to the rest of this game. We'll be right back. You just love if you like watching goals. You hate if you're a defensive hockey fan. Jason Denomme started off the scoring parade at 144. Niagara Falls came back to tie it up. Mike DeCoff scoring the first of 2 goals he picked up in that period. Ralph Intranuovo put Sault Ste. Marie ahead by a score of 2-1. Kowalsky and Shaun picked up the assist at 4:14. Then it was Jason Clark scoring for Niagara Falls to tie it up at 2. Mike DeCoff scored his second goal of the period, this one on the power play to make it 3-2 Niagara Falls. Todd Simon put the Thunder up by 2 goals, making it 4-2 at 16-19. And Tony Yob scoring a power play goal at 18-13 to pull the Greyhounds back to it in 1. Here's how it sounded. Intranuovo up to Kowalsky. Back for Intranuovo. Cuts in front. It's scores! Duncan kicking it in front. Clark scores! Cardiff up ahead to the top. Wait, shoots, scores! This is Todd Simon back the other way for Niagara Falls. Chris Simon took a run at him and missed. Luke puck in front, scores! 58 seconds to go in the Sault Ste. Marie power play. They trail 4-2. Here's Yob, scores! And a shot on goal in the first period, 18-15 in favor of the Niagara Falls Thunder. It is 4-3, and the team is getting set to head back out onto the ice. Second period action coming up. The period brought to you by Longines Whitten, superb jewelry that tells time. And right on time was Tony Yob, set up by Jarrett Reid as they came in over the blue line late in the first period. And this goal by Yob at 18-13 coming in the power play and pulling the Greyhounds to it in 1. Play of the period brought to you by Longines Whitten, superb jewelry that tells time.
You gotta like that one. You know what? The guy might just have a point. He looks like a pale imitation of Harvey the Hound from the Calgary Flames James Reid's best friend, but he's probably trying to get something wrong with you, Paul.
If I looked that good, I'd be pretty happy.
That's it. Take the joke out of it.
Power play for the first minute and 10 seconds of this period for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. They trail by 1, and this is Imber. Up to Yob. Up to Intranuovo, in on goal. Fired it right through the crease and just wide. Intranuovo's been dangerous in this game. Here's Intranuovo. Picked up in the play there by Junkin. Simon there at the line. Intranuovo bounces off of him. Gets it up ahead to Reid. Jarrett Reid, a couple of swipes at it. Moving in deep. Puck off the glass, 35 seconds left in the Sault Ste. Marie power play. Miller lunging at it, couldn't keep it in. Here's Imber. Up off the board, Intranuovo. Miller's going to hustle up there to pick it up. In front to Reid, he was all teed up, but the puck didn't get there. 14 seconds left in the power play for the Greyhounds. Here's Miller down in the corner. To Yob, trying to get it in front. Took a swipe at it. Intranuovo. Waits and shoots it in. Legacy to save. Rebound in front is snapped out of harm's way by Jeff Lawson. Teams back at even strength. We are early in the second period. It's a 4-3 hockey game. Niagara Falls leading the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Lawson tying up Imber. Kowalsky picking it up. Across there to Bannister. He'll just jump it down into the corner. Simon heads up there. Works it up to Gavey. Couldn't get it in front. Here's Bannister. Ricochets it off the boards back down into Thunder territory. And Mark Carter back there to pick it up. He's wrapped up along the boards. Kowalsky all over him. Trying to knock it loose. Simon pokes at it. Scales gives him a rub along the board. Scales trying to rope Simon, and that's a tall order. Bannister over to Mathieu. Here's Scales. Under some pressure. Simon is all over him. Puck comes back outside the line. Rawson. Here's DeCoff on the move. He's got 2 goals already, and he stopped at the line that time. Gavey gets it across. Simon comes in. He is in a sea of black. And it was all he could do just to land a shot on goal. And offside called on Sault Ste. Marie with 17:24 to go in the second period. 4-3 Niagara Falls lead.
Well, Chris Simon, a big boy, the top pick in the NHL second-round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers in the 1990 draft. Another second-rounder in the other team, Steve Sales of the St. Louis Blues. But Chris Simon, a guy who got himself into all sorts of trouble with the Ontario Hockey League this year. A total of 38 games in league suspensions this year. This guy knows the way that Commissioner Dave Branch's office off by heart.
Came over from the Ottawa 67 back in October. This is Miller. Teams at even strength. Denomme up ahead to Yob. He's on the move. Cuts right in on goal. Legacy with the save. Followed him right along. And the puck tied up back in the net. Yob giving a shot there after the whistle, although I suspect the theatrics were a little more than the actual.
Todd Simon gave him a little bit of a nudge, and Yob went down like he was shot in the head. But again, classic case. Sault Ste. Marie breaking in off the wing and scoring around, putting around those Niagara Falls defensemen. In that case, it was Dan Crisco, big number 27, who was beaten by Yob. Yob is a big, stocky guy, but he's also very, very quick. And he was able to beat him on the outside with a nice backhand, if not for many. Legacy's nice save, taking a high off the chest, could well have been a tie hockey game. If Niagara Falls doesn't close that wide lane, they're going to be in all sorts of trouble here tonight.
Sales going after it, number 42 for the Thunder. Up along the boards, Brown cracks at it, back to Sales. Ahead to Simon. On the move in over the blue line. Simon comes up. Morrow's with him. Scores! Morrow gets the goal on a beautiful setup.
What a play by Todd Simon. Talk about a deceitful hockey player. Watch him just take this entire Sault Ste. Marie force in front of the net and take him with him. Ethan Morrow had nothing to do but tap the puck into an empty net. And that is simply because there are three defenders all keeping an eye on Todd Simon, the leading scorer in the league, and one of the most dangerous men at the puck. And he just threw everybody away and threw it over. You gotta love to see a play like that. That is great offensive hockey.
Morrow gets the goal. Simon picks up one of the assists. The goal comes at 3:14. And Niagara Falls with a 5-3 lead over the hometown Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound. Miller is up there forechecking for Sault Ste. Marie, number 88. Brown will come away from the Thunder. Up to Simon. To Campbell. Long shot. Hodson would have dropped that off for Shaun Imber. Checked in. Campbell with a shot off the side of the net. Loose at the side. Bouncing around up there. Clark after it. Here's Brown now. Takes it in front. Morrow just missed. Campbell moving up. Keeps the drive alive. Simon and back in. Given a pop there by Goudie. Pass up ahead to Yob. Bounces off of Chaos. And Brown will pick it up for the Thunder. Goudie waiting for his teammates to get on side, jumping it in. Here's Sale. Morrow to Brown. He'll clear it in and head to the bench. George Burnett, the Niagara Falls coach, making a few changes in the fly. Simon and Sale picking up the assist on that Niagara Falls goal. Morrow gets it. Here's another chance. Thompson with a shot. Hodson got a piece of it. Here's Johansson. Bounces it up ahead. That was Gavey hustling up there. Couldn't get to the loose puck. Here's Tom for Gavey. Knocked away from him. Wetzel along the board for Niagara Falls to Clark. Shoots it in. Hodson makes the save. And Johansson controlling the rebound. Here's a chance for Crisco. Right in front. Tried to slide it underneath Hodson. And ended up sitting just wide of the corner. Gavey carrying it in. Manny Legacy, the Niagara Falls goaltender, likes to play it up off the boards to center. Here's Gleason. Across to McKeel. Corriveau gets it off the boards and down the ice. 14 minutes and 37 seconds to go in the second period. 5-3 is the score. The Niagara Falls Thunder leading the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. You're watching the CHL tonight on CSN.
Todd Simon, the leading scorer in the regular season, now the leading scorer in the entire playoffs, and here's one reason why. Watch how crafty he is coming across the blue line. There's Ethan Morrow on his left wing. Simon does a good job not to put him offside, gets up, and does a nice job of pulling away all the Sault Ste. Marie defenders, Briane Goudie, and the puck is just dished right back to Morrow, who's all alone, stuck in behind goaltender Kevin Hodson.
Back to the line, Bannister shoots it in wide. And Mathieu hesitated a little at the blue line, decided not to come up and play it. Rawson comes in, a wrist shot, and Hodson gloves that and hangs on. 14:22 to go in the second period. I'm Paul Roman after Bob McKenzie in Sault Ste. Marie, game one of this Emms division final.
Well, a rough first period for Kevin Hodson. There was at least 2 goals in the first period that he should have had. Kevin Hodson, an outstanding goaltender, ranked number 5 on the NHL Central Scouting Bureau's 30 ranked goaltenders. One of 2 Manitobans on the team. The other is Briane Goudie, defenseman from the Todd.
Sales wires one in, and Hodson waves that down. Sales with a rocket from the point. Cranked that one in on goal. And they tie it up down in the corner. What a shot off the faceoff.
Well, as Todd Simon has been dangerous every time he's been on the ice, so too has Ralph Intranuovo, an 8th-round pick 2 years ago in the midget draft from the Toronto Young Nats. And a lot of people thought he was too small to play in the Ontario Hockey League. Boy, if he proven them wrong. 50 goals, 113 points. He was the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds' leading point getter over the course of the regular season. Comes through that neutral zone so fast, plays the point on the power play, and is just a dangerous all-around guy. Power play, penalty kill, he does it all for the Soo Greyhounds. A real fan favorite here.
Schuster was going to jump it over to Sales, but got better of it. Now Sales fires it in. That's knocked down, and here's Intranuovo. Gets it up ahead to Kowalsky on the move. In over the blue line. He's got Simon up there with it. Kowalsky tied up by Schuster. DeCoff giving a bump. Intranuovo to Kowalsky. Schuster trying to tie him up. Maxwell. Simon intercepts. Shoots. And Legacy amongst the crowd is able to control the puck. Simon thought it was in.
Well, Ralph Intranuovo got things going here, but Jeff Rawson realizes how dangerous he can be. Look at the interference here as they just maul each other. Intranuovo gets back up into the play. A shot from Drew Bannister back on the point. A bad clearing attempt here that goes right back out. Around that Chris Simon, who just winds up, takes the shot, and it sneaks behind Manny Legacy. Rick Kowalski, number 12, can't get a stick on the loose puck. Legacy fell back on top of it and gets the stoppage in play.
Manny Legacy, a reflex goaltender. Very quick, and also handles the puck well. Likes to come out and play it. So a few more examples of that the other night in the game against London than we had so far in this game. Pass up ahead there for Brown. He couldn't knock it down. Greyhounds controlling. Goudie up for Miller. It hopped over his stick. This is Sales. Off the board. Imber will shovel it right back in for Sault Ste. Marie. 13-14 to go, second period. Intercepted in front by Yob. He swats at it, a rolling puck, and Sales able to hold the fort and get the puck down the ice. Great composure there by Sales after the giveaway. Here's Brown getting it in front. Simon, what a move, but he couldn't get the puck onto his stick as he beats his way through the slot. And Simon roughed up there by Denomme. Took a look at the referee. No penalty called. Pass up along the board. Sales moving up after it. Comes in over the line with Brown. Brown swings in deep. Sharp angle shot. He fired that wide. And it caroms around the boards all the way back down the ice. Campbell back there to pick it up. 12:22 to play. Another giveaway in front, and Jarrett Reid just knifed it wide. Here's Yob in the corner. Looking for Reid in front. Yob centers it. Reid with a swipe at that puck, and he just missed. Here's Johansson pinching up, flips at it, and it's tipped by Clark up over the glass and out of play.
When we talked about it in the opening call, Tony Yob, Chris Simon, some big, strong forwards that can skate well, can get in on top of those Niagara Falls defensemen very quickly, and that's exactly what Tony Yopp did in that situation. He created a turnover that almost led to a goal. You see here Sales behind the net, rather Scott Campbell behind the net, throws that puck out in front on heavy forechecking by Jarrett Reid. Little number 15, Jarrett Reid, backhands that shot, and it goes past Legacy and around to the other side. But Tony Yopp could be a real disturber right there, the kind of guy who makes the Niagara Falls defensemen sit up and take notice every time they pick up the puck at their own end. And if they're thinking about Yopp coming in on them, they're not thinking of getting the puck out of their own end.
Here's Wetzel, in over the line, shoots one. Just high and wide. And that puck tipping off referee Bill Krasniak and going up over the glass. I think it hit his hand. They saw him shake it after the puck went flying up over the glass.
Well, the fans up here love their hockey, and what a great hockey town it is. And they like the physical hockey, too. There's a good example of it right there. Gleason taking a hit up against the boards. Number 24, Jason Clark, a pretty tough customer on the Niagara Falls Thunder.
Maybe you can tell us your connection to Sault Ste. Marie in a few moments. I know you're pretty fond of this part of the country. There's Johansson in back of the net. Up to Gleason, who will start out. Long, lengthwise pass up ahead. Matsos charging in. And he just ran out of steam as he was flying down the wing. Couldn't get it out in front. Here's Reid, banking it off the board. Crisco starts out. Picks his way to center. Bouncing it up ahead. Wetzel going after it. Number 22 bumping with his man, and he is summarily jumped. Puck back out to center. Crisco up along the board for Maxwell. And he gets it in, but offside called on the Thunder.
Well, the Niagara Falls Thunder have some experienced players in their lineup, not a lot of the young lineup, but one of the experienced guys, they do have Rick Corriveau, an overage hockey player, 5th year in the league, which is a little deceiving because one of those years was spent under major reconstructive knee surgery, so there was, in effect, a loss year. We only played about 10 hockey games. But you'll notice tonight, he hasn't been an impact player. He was in the game against the London Knights. So far tonight, he hasn't been. One of the reasons for that may be that Corriveau is not a particularly gifted skater. He doesn't have blazing speed, and right now, this game is being played at a very high tempo, especially by the Greyhounds.
Here's Bannister. Up along the board. Tucked in by DeCoff. Top of the slot with a shot, and Hodson steals that away. Hodson looking much more confident this period than he did in the first. Kowalsky banks it in. Intranuovo up there to forecheck. Number 14 saves it in front of the net. All the way back up in the tier. Moves it up. Kowalsky turns on that. Had the gun loaded, but the trigger jammed. Maxwell knocks it down. That's a two-line pass. 10:34 to play in the second period. It's 4-3. Make that 5-3 for the Thunder. Next broadcast coming up on TSN in terms of sort of junior hockey, although it's midget hockey, the Canadian Midget Championship. The Air Canada Cup from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. That is Sunday, April the 26th at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. This wraps up our junior hockey playoff coverage. We will next be talking to you from the Memorial Cup Championship. Kowalski with a shot off the faceoff, and Legacy hangs on to that. Well, I spent some time in Sault Ste. Marie. Tell me about it.
Well, it was my first newspaper job as just a 3-star. I got a Ryerson journalism school, covered the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds for 3 seasons, and the great thing about being in this town and being a hockey writer or being a hockey fan or being a hockey player is that the fans here and the people here take their hockey seriously. This is a real hockey town, and that's why I really enjoyed my 3 years up here.
And just above that shots on goal sign is where I used to sit when I came up here with the Oshawa Generals to call play-by-play. So if you'll pardon us for our trip down memory lane, we'll spend a little bit of time in this building. It's a great hockey town and a building with a lot of character for junior hockey. In comes Moores, trying to get outside on Bannister. Couldn't get it in front. Hodson picking that up to Mathieu. And Kowalski will just bank it down. Sales picks it up. 9:58 to play in the second period. 5-3. Niagara Falls leading. Icing waved out. Bannister back to pick it up. Number 5 to Imber. Challenge there. Meets the challenge. Moores now pokes it away. He'll start back. Ahead for Brown. Brown was tight roping along the blue line. And Couldn't commit it. He'd have been offside. He's up there to forecheck now. Can't get to it. Puck cleared at center. Kowalsky up ahead. Intranuovo up with a shot, but he waited a little bit too long, and it was tapped away by Scott Campbell. In back of the net, Simon gets it in front. Briane will poke it up ahead. And back comes Morrow. In over the blue line to Simon, charging in on goal. Waits, shoots, the rebound. Can't get the second shot away. And Hodson made the stop on the first. Here comes Yard, charging back. In over the blue line. Barges right in there with a shot. Legacy the save. There's another shot. Legacy stops back. It's loose at the side. Schuster will gobble it up. Up around the board for Brown. Out at center for Simon. Couldn't hold on to it. Denomme trying to chip it in. And offside called on Sault Ste. Marie. Couple of great chances for both teams with 8:44 to go in the second period.
Well, Todd Simon went one-on-one with Kevin Hodson there. Hodson won that battle. But Todd Simon made a beautiful play after picking up the puck from Ethan Morrow. A nice drop pass by Morrow, taking Goudie out of the play. But again, watch the delay. Watch that long, what they call point of panic, where he doesn't want to give it up at all. They're going to get opportunity. And again, how many times are we going to see this tonight? That's the third time Yob's come around on the backhand on his off wing and just fired it right up without any attempt by the defenseman to stop the shot.
Yob has had 6 shots on goal tonight. Here comes Whitten. Hustling back in. He's got Clark with him. Drops it there. Clark is spun around, though. Really nowhere to go. Here's Duncan. Nowhere to go for him either. Off the board, back to Corvo, shoots it. He ripped one wide. Frisco just gets it off the board. Up comes Gleason. Leaves pass a little bit too far for MacDonald. Here comes Wetzel. In over the blue line. Duncan is trailing. Here it is to Duncan. Bouncing puck. Clark lunging at it. Took the big swipe and the 1.5 gainer, but couldn't knock it towards the net. Corvo waiting for his mates to get onside. He'll slip it in. And George Burnett and the Thunder making some changes on the fly. Here's MacDonald for Sault Ste. Marie. Up ahead to Kowalsky. Picks his way through a maze. Gets it to MacDonald, but offside called on the Greyhound. 7:47 to go in the second period.
Well, this capacity crowd of about 4,500 is not too enthusiastic right now. They're handing it up to the cameras a little bit. But they are happy to have hockey here. 3 years ago, they almost lost their hockey team. Phil Esposito, a native son, effectively sold the team to Detroit CompuWare, and all that happened was there was a clause that allowed the city or somebody in the city of Sault Ste. Marie to come along and match the offer to keep the team. That's exactly what the city did. They brought in Sherry Bassett as the general manager. They got over 2,200 in season tickets. They got 700 season tickets for a 3-year term, which is pretty remarkable.
Here's a giveaway. Simon to Intranuovo. Back in front, and there was no one there in a white jersey. A couple of guys in black jerseys. DeCoff out at center, chopping at it. And he was finally tied up. Simon holding him. And we'll have a face-off down in neutral territory.
Well, the Thunder get a little sloppy in their own end, causing all sorts of problems. They're having a tough time controlling Sault Ste. Marie off the rush. They're also having a tough time not making a good first half. Here you see them all heavy pursuit by the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. That puck is stepped in by Tom MacDonald, and then you'll see another bad pass coming up right there. Soft ice, intercepted by Chris Simon. Tries to get it over to little Ralph Intranuovo. Niagara Falls Thunder creating a lot of their own problems, even though they're ahead 2 goals in this game.
Intranuovo, number 14, he's buzzing around everywhere. Up to Kowalsky, ahead there for Simon. Down into the corner, he's tied up by DeCoff. And back comes Rawson for the Thunder. In over the blue line. Rawson up there with Maxwell. And that just ends up sailing high and wide. Cardiff getting it down into the corner. Quite a battle going on just off to the right of the Sault Ste. Marie net. And there are the 2 prime participants. Maxwell getting all tangled up in there with number 5, Bannister of the Greyhound.
Well, Maxwell's only a rookie in this league. Bannister draft eligible this year, but a good battle down in the corner. Look at Jeff Rawson. You see the 2 players here mixing it up, all tied up, and they throw each other through the ice. Coincidental minor penalties for Maxwell. Now he's going to be heard from in this league, as is Drew Bannister. Bannister, the NHL straight, keeping a very close eye on, considered by many to be a second or third round prospect. Maxwell scored 19 goals in his rookie season and plays a very physical game. Represents a large part of the Niagara Falls Thunder's future.
Well, Maxwell won't be heard from much in the next 2 minutes. He's in the penalty box along with Drew Bannister. They pick up offsetting 2-minute penalties, so the teams remain at even strength. 4-on-4. Horrible. Gets it up ahead to Simon. Through to Brown, in on goal, and Hodson goes down to make the save. Good chance for Brown. Goudie. Number 7 for Sault Ste. Marie on the way. He is bumped by Brown. And Brown starts back ahead to Simon. Look out. And that one is tipped way up over the glass and out of play. And they look out every time Simon winds it up at the top of the slot like that.
That's for sure, Paul. Kevin Brown makes a nice play coming through the middle. This guy is dangerous. We've been talking about Todd Simon all night. This guy plays on his right wing, scored 42 goals over the course of the regular season, and a great defensive play by Briane Goudie, a sweeping poke check, just to knock that puck off the stick of Kevin Brown, who a few moments later was able to dish that puck off to Todd Simon. Brown and Simon work so very well together.
This is Briane Goudie with it. Corriveau flats at it. Had a couple of his teammates in there offside, so they had to come out and regroup. Here's Imber. Miller down there after it, and had to hold off on touching it. Couldn't win there. If he touches it, they're offside, and the Thunder touching it, so icing called on Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, Colin Miller. Just let the puck go by him there. He tries to race up. Realizes that it shouldn't be icing. And hopes to be able to get that puck back. But Colin Miller, a very gifted offensive hockey player. He used to play for this Niagara Falls Thunder team. Once scored 6 goals as a rookie with the Thunder to set an Ontario Hockey League record for most goals single game.
And not a surprise at all to see Colin Miller matched up against Todd Simon.
Ted Nolan likes to go strength versus strength. That's what he's got tonight.
Here's Corriveau. Back to Campbell. Shoots one. Low and wide. Campbell hustling over there to keep it in. Popped over Simon's stick. This is Imber. Has a little bit of room. Banks it off the boards for Tony Yob. Yob being watched by Brown. Gets it ahead to Imber. Up to Miller. Miller on the move. Down into the corner. Imber goes after it. Simon impeding his progress. This is Yob now. Tried to dive towards the front of the net. He got low bridge. Goudie will just slap it back into the Greyhound. 5:24 to play, second period. 5-3, the Niagara Falls Thunder leading the hometown Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Simon just banking in and off the boards, and he'll head to the bench. Thunder making some changes in the goal, and this is Mark McTeer for Sault Ste. Marie. Up ahead, Jarrett Reid couldn't knock it down. Seos breaks it up and starts to charge back in. Runs into Imber. Here's Mark McTeer for Sault Ste. Marie. Picking his way out to center. Up ahead for Matsos going after it. Puck bounces loose. MacDonald takes a look in front. Side of the net for Reid. Tried to go to the forehand and was knocked off his stick. Here's MacDonald again. Couldn't center it. Took a little swipe at it, but it was knocked loose. Todd Gleason starting back up for the Greyhounds. Legacy plays it up around the board. Matsos knocks it down. And Clark will just crunch it down the ice for the Thunder. And as Briane Goudie touches it, icing called on Niagara Falls. 5-3 to score. The Thunder on top. We'll be right back.
Simon's got a great head for the game, and we see a good example of it here. Lots of good head fakes through the neutral zone. And when you're not a great, brilliantly blinding speed skater, and you're not huge, you've got to use other methods to get the job done. And boy, he got the job done this year. 146 points to lead the Ontario Hockey League in scoring. They're really pounding him now in this game. They're coming after him hard. There's getting a lot of intimidation, but he's not buying into any of it at all. He's just ignoring it, carrying on, and playing a very strong game.
And we heard him talk off the top of the show about how he loves the big challenge, how he responds to it and plays his best hockey. Mateer back after it. He gets tangled up there in a bit of a crunch fest along the boards. Bannister goes after the puck. He's given a bump. Puck rolls into Hodson, just steers it off loose. See St. Marie defense suddenly standing still. Rawson going after it, had it pulled away, and back comes Ralph Intranuovo. Lead pass up for Kowalsky. He'll get chased into the corner, hot on Corrivel's heels, wrestles him to the ice. Simon up there for the Greyhound. Trying to get loose. Maxwell picks it up. Todd Gleason back after it, icing waved off. Thunder again making changes in the goal. Long pass up here to Simon. Had a little bit of room, but it's pulled away by Schuster. To Simon. Puck cross for Brown in over the blue line. Back towards the middle. Morrow goes after it in the corner now. Along the board, Campbell with a shot. And that hit his teammate Brown in front. And Brown felt that. He's hurting a little bit. Looked like the shot hit him on the forearm. Perhaps just above the glove where you don't have much padding. But it certainly stung him. You could see that.
Well, if anyone was to go down with an injury, Todd Simon would be the last guy you'd want to see. The second last guy you'd want to see go down for Niagara Falls is this guy, Kevin Brown, a 42-goal man. Watch the puck come across right through the middle. And that one was going up towards his face, and it's as if he threw his arm up to shield it. As you say, Paul, right above that unprotected area, just above the glove, and between the elbow pad, probably took a shot right on the muscle. Coach George Burnett would be awfully worried if either Simon or Brown were to be out of his lineup.
Has he moved from that spot behind the bench in this game?
Does like to stay in one spot, the former London Knight.
One of the great young coaches in Canadian junior hockey. Burnett, highly regarded.
First all-star coach in the Ontario Hockey League this year, which didn't sit well with a lot of people in Sault Ste. Marie. Thought maybe Ted Nolan, the division winner, would get that honor.
Here's Simon in over the line with Brown going for the front of the net. Knocked away. Simon will go after it again along the board. Dropped it up there for Morrow, but Miller stealing it. Cut in front of his own net, which was perhaps not the best move he would have liked to have made. Schuster hustling back to pick it up. Miller challenging him. It comes back. Enemy right in front. Cleared wide. Here's Yob. Trying to crash the crease. Centers it. Back up to the line for Imber. Shoots. Knocked down in front by DeCoff. Here's Miller. Centers it in front, but Yob was tied up by Campbell. Tough going in front of that Thunder goal. Here's Goudie. Banks it off the boards. Morrow knocks it down. Goudie tries to bring it back out. DeCoff was spun around there. This is Miller now. Out of center. Yob steals. He'll break it on goal. Big chance. Big goal.
By Colin Miller, but a bobbled ball at the center red line by defenseman Steve Sales. Tony Yob takes advantage of it. First in uses his strength and size advantage to get around and shield the puck from Sales. A good job of shielding the puck and just puts it right up top shelf as Danny Legacy goes down a little bit too early. Tony Yob coming in. Danny Legacy dropped to the ice immediately, and Yob picked the corner. That's his 10th goal of the playoffs, the leading goal scorer for the Soo Greyhounds in this 8th playoff game for them.
His second goal of the night, and that was his 7th shot on goal of the hockey game. It's 5-4. Sault Ste. Marie still down by 1. Christo clearing it in. This is Imber now for Sault Ste. Marie. Gleason is clearing it down the ice. Legacy with the save, drops it out there for Corrivel. He's under some pressure. Here come the Greyhounds. MacDonald gets it down into the corner for Jarrett Reid. To Matsos. He's tied up. And Clark starts back out. Trying to dance his way in there. He's jumping. He's still got it. Drops it off into the corner. Clark tied up, and we'll have a face-off down in Sault Ste. Marie territory. They give Goudie an assist on that goal by Yob at 18-18.
Well, they just easily could have given an assist to the Niagara Falls center defensive Steve Sales, who just bobbled that puck at the center ice red line, and Tony Yob comes in and picks the corner. Yob is great when he's playing disciplined hockey. If you remember the Memorial Cup last year when the Soo Greyhounds went 0 for 3, the first Ontario team never to win a game at the Memorial Cup, he was very undisciplined, taking a lot of bad penalties. And Coach Ted Nolan has his team playing discipline. Big guys like Chris Simon, Tony Yob, those guys are so effective because they're so big and so strong, yet they also have very good finishing touch.
That's Danny Farrell, the assistant coach with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, who was Danny Flynn, pardon me, who was speaking with Teddy Nolan back down behind the bench. Schuster back there to tag it up, and icing called on the Sault Ste. Marie. 43 seconds to go in the second period. Our second intermission coming up. And during our second intermission, we will take a look around at other playoff proceedings in Canadian junior hockey. And featured will be a conversation with the head coach of the North Bay Centennials, Bert Templeton. And Bert Templeton's North Bay Centennials in the Lady Division final in the Ontario Hockey League. The other semifinal against Peterborough. They lead that series 1-0. They won in overtime the other night. We'll have highlights of that first game also coming up during the intermission.
An overtime thriller, I understand.
Off the face-off, puck rolls around, and here comes Simon. Lumbering to the line. He's got Miller with him. There's the pass. Scores! Colin Miller ties it up.
Well, the Niagara Falls Thunder get burned in a situation off the face-off here. The puck goes back. They have it, and they take the shot. But watch right there, you'll see Ethan Morrow caught in deep, and it becomes a 2-on-1. Chris Simon legs it out and does a good job of spreading things out in a great cross-ice pass by Big Simon to Colin Miller. Colin Miller, perfectly timed pass. You watch this, Colin Miller is almost at the point of no return. He's almost by the net. In fact, he just stumbles right in past the goalpost and into the board. But a great pass from Chris Simon.
Miller gets the goal. Simon gets the assist. And the Greyhounds get a clean slate. They've tied it up. Here's Goudie. Up ahead to Kowalsky. Knocked down there by Junkin. 10 seconds to go in the period. Lead pass up for Mike DeCoff. He couldn't knock that down. He'll hustle in there after it. But Shaun Imber gets there first, and icing is called on the Thunder with 3 seconds remaining in the second period. What a period.
Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds love to score goals in bunches, and they did that there. 70 seconds between their fourth goal and the tying goal, and Chris Simon just perfectly threads a pass between Schuster and Legacy right on the stick of Colin Miller, who just had to tap it in. Interesting situation now here. 3 seconds left in the period. They picked up 2 goals in the last couple of minutes. Force a tie here, and I'm sure Sault Ste. Marie would love to get one shot off this face-off. Assistant Coach Danny Flynn up there with Coach Ted Nolan, setting up the situation. Flynn, very strategic, the X's and O's man for this team.
He was the head coach at one time. He was the head coach of the Belleville Bulls for a while.
Fired in the middle of the playoffs. Extraordinary story awaits our history.
And off the face-off, Yob with a shot, and Legacy with the stop, and the buzzer still ringing in his ears as he heads towards the bench. It was a wild one. And when the dust settles, after 2 periods of play, it is 5-5. Sault Ste. Marie and Niagara Falls. Our second intermission is coming up. Look at the plus-minus leaders in the Niagara Falls Thunder. Todd Simon, not surprisingly, number 1 at plus 52. And I guess you have a pretty good plus-minus when you pick up 146 points over the course of the year for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Mark Mateer is number 1 at plus 44. After a couple of periods, we are all even up in a whale of a hockey game. To let you know what else is going on in and around the sports world, we take you back to TSN Control. And here again is Teresa Herger.
Thanks, Paul. Well, arenas and coliseums across North America were alive with the sounds of NHL hockey today. The strike is over. Play will resume tomorrow. Now, if you forget how the season left off, here's Vic Router to bring us up to date.
When it all came apart for the NHL back on April 1st, the Toronto Maple Leafs were sitting 4 points back of Minnesota for that final playoff spot in the North Division. Detroit, Chicago, and St. Louis will all finish 1, 2, 3, respectively. The good news for the Leafs, that they are back on the ice against the Islanders on Sunday. The bad news, if they lose or the North Stars win just one game, the Leafs season is over again. The Smythe division still has a lot to be decided. The Canucks clinched the division a long time ago. However, Los Angeles and Edmonton are still fighting it out for second spot and home ice advantage in the very first round. Winnipeg has a 4-point lead on Calgary for the fourth and final playoff spot. San Jose, well, this is a minor interruption in their golf schedule. Don't be surprised to see the Oilers overtake the Kings for second place. Edmonton plays its final 2 games at home against the Sharks and Jets, while the Kings have a tough home-and-home series with Vancouver. And both play the Sharks once. However, the real fun starts when they go head-to-head Sunday night. Not much to talk about in the Adams division. Montreal clinched first place when the strike talk was just that, talk. While Boston will finish second, Buffalo third, Hartford fourth, and Quebec, they will finish in last place again, out of the playoffs for the 5th straight season. In case you've forgotten, the New York Rangers have clinched not only the Patrick Division title, but first place overall as well. Washington, they'll finish second, while the Islanders and Flyers sit out postseason for the 2nd straight year. The best battle over the next week, though, will be between the Devils and the Penguins, tied with 85 points, 3 games left, and they meet on Monday in New Jersey. Mario Lemieux will need to recapture the fire he had just before the strike when he was the league's hottest player. Lemieux scored 17 points in his last 4 games before the strike, giving him a commanding lead in the NHL scoring rate ahead of his teammate Kevin Stevens. Lemieux gunning for his 3rd NHL scoring title.
30 regular season games will be played next Thursday by next Thursday with the playoffs to begin by a week from tonight. 10 games are going to go tomorrow. Here's a look at the schedule. One big matchup to tell you about, a big game for the Devils. They are tied to Pittsburgh in the Pappas division for 3rd place. And no one wants to finish 4th in that division. They'd have to take on the Rangers in the first round. Now, elsewhere, the Leafs are on the rope. Big night for them. If Minnesota wins, the Stars will clinch 4th spot in the North. And a Smythe division matchup, Winnipeg at Calgary, 4 points separate these two clubs. If the Jets win, they will clinch the final playoff spot in the Smythe. And our TSN NHL coverage will resume Monday night when the Leafs take on Philadelphia at 7:30. Now back to Paul.
Thank you very much, Teresa. And we'll continue our TSN CHL coverage after a couple of periods here. Whale of a game. It's 5-5 between the Niagara Falls Thunder and the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Just to look around elsewhere in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, they're getting all set to start the league semifinals and a couple of pretty good matchups. The first matchup that gets underway tomorrow night is Verdun and make that Laval and Trois-Rivières. That gets underway at 7:30 Eastern Time tomorrow night. That'll be game 1. I mentioned Laval a few moments ago. That is the other series that gets underway, Shawinigan and Verdun. And the big key here is that Verdun are the heavy favorites in that league to come out the entire thing and move on to the Memorial Cup Championship. Out west, their semifinal series getting underway tonight, although neither game has started yet. One game starts in about another 5 minutes. That'll be the game between Saskatoon and Prince Albert. As I mentioned earlier, that is a great rivalry on its own, but factor in the playoffs, and that could be just a tremendous series. And the other one that starts out at 10:30 Eastern Time tonight, Seattle and Kamloops. Kamloops was just a tremendous team led by a great defense with a couple of veteran defensemen. Scott Niedermeyer back there. He played in the Memorial Cup during his rookie season. He was a draft pick of the New Jersey Devils. And also Daryl Sidor back there on the blue line. He plays for the LA Kings. That's going to make Kamloops very tough to handle for Seattle. Lots more still to come from Sault Ste. Marie. We're tied at 5 after a couple of periods. Our intermission continues in a few moments. Catching their breath before the start of the 3rd period. So are the Leather Lung fans. They've been making a lot of noise tonight supporting their team, which is tied at 5 after a couple of periods in Game 1 of this Emms Division final with the Niagara Falls Thunder. in the Leyden Division final going on between Peterborough and North Bay. The series is already underway. Here are some highlights of game number 1. Up in the first period, Jason Cullimore back at the blue line sends in a shot, and looked as though it may have been tipped by the North Bay forward on the way in. In any event, it's 1-0 Peterborough. However, North Bay answers back. Drake Farahowski barges his way in. Andrew Verner the first stop, but he doesn't stop Jeff Chevalier, and we're tied at 1. Verner, by the way, was outstanding in this hockey game, especially in the first period. He was often the last line of defense for the Peterborough Petes. Couple of solid stops. He was finally beaten here, though. Long pass to John Spoltor, and here he comes. Nice shot from in tight. It's 2-1 for North Bay. Now we're in the second period. Scramble around in front, and Chris Longo scores in the power play to tie it at 2 after 2. Third period now, and it's Mike Harding with a shot that kind of knuckleballs its way in behind Ron Bertrand, and it's 3-2 for Peterborough. Mark Lawrence, however, ties it up. Look at that. Awful angle right along the goal line and in, and we're tied at 3. So set it up for overtime, and it's a giveaway by Matt St. Germain, number 17. The puck will go to him, and watch it, picked up by Chad Penny, and good night. Here goes Penny with a big shot and a big overtime win for North Bay. They win 4-3 and lead the series 1-0. And anytime you can win that first game, number 1 in overtime and number 2 in the opposition rank, what a great boost for Bert Templeton and company.
Oh, there's no question about that. No free rides this year in the Ontario Hockey League playoffs. We're seeing a great game here tonight between these two teams over in the Leyden Division, probably the better of the two divisions. Just a great battle between North Bay and Peterborough.
And joining us now is the head coach of the North Bay Centennials, Bert Templeton. And Bert, were you surprised at being able to score 4 goals in Peterborough, first of all, because that's a tough rink to play in against a good defensive team?
I wasn't surprised we were able to score 4 balls because we've been able to score all year. There's no question that we have offensive ability. And, we played relatively well the last game in Peterborough. At the end of the season, we played them. We scored 5 goals and won that game 5-3. So we have the capability of scoring.
Bert, I know different coaches look for different reference points on their team when you get down to the nitty-gritty and the big games. What kind of things are you watching in your team, and I guess obviously being pleased with considering the club's success?
Well, as far as our team is concerned, what we're looking for is, how solid we play back, how solid we play back in the blue line, and how that blue line initiates our offense. That's a big part of it. If the defensive responsibility is the whole team, then the offense happens to be the whole team as well. And transition game is very, very important part, especially when you play a team like Peterborough, who really is able to shut down the neutral zone and play so well defensively. The transition game becomes more important because if preset plays, you're not going to have time to use them.
Bert, how important is it to win that first game, at least to win that first game on Peterborough ice? Is that a big deal? Will home ice be a factor in this series?
Well, both teams have been very, very successful on the road. We won 20 on the road this year and won 20 at home. We played well. I think Peterborough has only lost 1 of their last 12 on the road, if I'm not mistaken. But, it's always nice, as Dick said, going into the first game, it's always nice to have that home ice advantage. We've been playing pretty well at home in playoffs. I think it's psychologically important to our team. And the big game is probably the morning right back in North Bay. If we're able to go out there and perform well, then we definitely have an advantage.
And good luck in that game, Bert, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bert Templeton, the head coach of the North Bay Centennials, joining us live, and his team is leading the Leyden Division Championship Series by a margin of 1-0 over Peterborough. They win the first game in overtime, and they're looking ahead, hopefully, perhaps to a berth in the Memorial Cup Championship, and we will have complete coverage of that starting on May 9th on TSN, live from Seattle. Teams to be announced. Lots more still to feast on in this hockey game. 1 more period to go at least. They're tied at 5. Not quite as much scoring in the second period as there was in the first. And just recapping the goals for you, the Thunder jumping out to a 5-3 lead when Ethan Morrow scored at 3:14. But then Tony Yob, who had a big period, he's had 7 shots on goal. This was his 7th, and it was the Greyhounds' 4th goal of this game. And then Colin Miller scoring. It is 5-5 after a couple of periods. Here's how it sounded. Ahead to Simon. On the move in over the blue line. Simon comes up. Morrow's with him. Score! Maxwell. Simon intercepts. Shoots! And Legacy, amongst the crowd, is able to control the puck. DeCoff was spun around there. This is Miller now. Out at center. Yob steals. He'll break it shots on goal, 13-11 in the second period for the Thunder. They're out shooting Sault Ste. Marie 31-26. And in our continuing effort to put every person who lives in Sault Ste. Marie on TV at least once, here you go. Ontario being brought to you tonight by Molson Canadian. It's what beer's all about. And by Shell Canada, from exploration to your neighborhood station, Shell Health. And by Pepsi, gotta have it. And time now for our play of the period, brought to you tonight by Yamaha Motor Canada, makers of water vehicles. And we pick up a great rush by the Greyhounds, a great rush because it tied the game for them. Colin Miller in front, set up by Simon at 19:28 to set the stage for the third period, a 5-5 tie. Play of the period brought to you by Yamaha Motor Canada, makers of water vehicles and other fine quality products. And it's go hounds go as far as these fans are concerned, full steam ahead into this final period, a 5-5 tie. And a great late period surge by the Greyhounds, but coming in with a quick shot right off the faceoff was Mike DeCoff. He's already got two, and he hit the side of the net on that shot. Here's Kowalsky for Sault Ste. Marie. Lead pass up ahead there for Intranuovo. He couldn't knock it down. Legacy out of his net, but he backpedals. Here's Maxwell. Up to DeCoff, and over the blue line, drops it for Maxwell. Deos was in offside, so Maxwell had to wait a little bit. Couldn't just plow in right ahead. Mark McKeer, sidestepping to center. Up ahead for Kowalski. He is bumped and knocked to the ice there by Mark Cardiff. Here's Intranuovo. Gets to the side. Here's Kowalski with Simon in front. And finally, Manny Legacy, the Niagara Falls goaltender, is just going to smother it, and we'll get a face-off down in Thunder territory.
Well, the Niagara Falls Thunder had a very tough time getting here. Not so much in the last win over the London Knights, the 4-1 victory in the best-of-7, but the 4-3 win over the Detroit Ambassadors. Sault Ste. Marie, on the other hand, had a bye in the first round because they finished first overall and then ran into a very tough Kitchener Ranger team. Coach Ted Nolan said the reason that team was so tough is because the Kitchener defense is among the most mobile in the league, and they were able to counter the Greyhounds' attack very well. Greyhounds love to get in and force turnovers. Kitchener defense reacted very well to that.
Off the faceoff, Miller spinning around and firing a shot just wide. Imber hustling back there after it, and icing called on Niagara Falls.
George Burnett never looked too frazzled, never looked too excited, but the team had a 2-goal lead, and they gave it up with some defensive miscues in that third period. And he hates defensive miscues. A former London Knights player who played 1979 to 1982 for the Knights, and one of the brightest coaching prospects in the Ontario Hockey League, and all of junior hockey for that matter. The pro scouts keeping an eye on him.
And I wonder if he's feeling a little snake bit, considering that his team is winless in the last 13 games against Sault Ste. Marie. They were swept by the Greyhounds 4 straight last year in the division final. And here they are this year, blowing a 2-goal lead in game 1. Here's Morrow, barging in there after it. Goudie knocks it down. Along the boards, trying to get it out. Houston. Cross ice off the board. Simon couldn't get to it. Goudie for Sault Ste. Marie. Up for Miller. Not much room for him to move. Goudie gets it back. He's got Miller and Yob in motion. Just fires it in. Yob up there after it. He's hooked up on the play. Here's Campbell. Yob up there on top of him. Centers it in front. Miller knocks it down, and he is quickly knocked down by Schuster. Yob tried to spin around. Couldn't get the shot away. Here's Legacy. A little adventure. Yob after it. He and Miller working along the board. Simon for Niagara Falls. And the puck finally rolling to Legacy, and he will just hold on to it. 17:47 to go in the third period. Lots of time, and we're tied at 5.
Good pressure by the Hounds. Coaching a Sault Ste. Marie team is not a difficult thing to motivate these players. We talked about George Burnett being the first All-Star team coach. Ted Nolan finished first 2 consecutive years. They went to Memorial Cup. He wasn't on any of the first 3 All-Star teams. There was not one single Greyhound player on any of the first 3 teams. So as a result, it's a great motivational tool for Teddy Nolan to look at his team and tell them that, hey, nobody thinks we're any good. We're team unknown. Nobody's got any respect for us. And Terry Chris used to play that one to the hilt up here in Sault Ste. Marie when he coached this team.
You get that siege mentality going. It's us against everyone else, and that can be a great motivator. John Terry used it very effectively in the NHL. Cost him his job a couple of times. Johansson. Crisco, number 27, back there to pick it up for Niagara Falls. Gets a little sloppy. Here's Johansson. Hustling back to pick it up, moves it across there for Gleason. Junkin keeps it in. Up for Clark, passing into his skates. He couldn't control it. Here's Cardiff. Gleason will pick it up. And the puck comes out. Offside called on Niagara Falls.
Well, right now we got a 5-5 tie going. Overtime always a possibility. We've had 2 CHL playoff games so far this season, both of them on TSN, both of them overtime. Could be happening here. Rick Kowalsky's done a great job for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. 2 years ago, came into the league, scored about 1 point that year, had about 15 points over 2 seasons. This year, he more than quadrupled his points, took a leadership role after being a part-time player for the past 2 years.
Teo sending it in. Cardiff moves up after it, and it gets flipped up over the glass and in among the spectators. Now, you want to talk about a guy who scores big goals. He scored some big ones last year for Sault Ste. Marie in the playoffs. He had 7 game winners in the postseason for them last year. 7.
There's former Greyhound Mike DeCoff, who's got a pair of goals tonight. Came over from the Oshawa Generals with Jason Denomme and Mike Lenarduzzi, along with all sorts of money and draft picks for Eric Lindros, a young man who decided that he did not want to play under any circumstances in Sault Ste. Marie. Now he's doing much the same thing with the Quebec Nordiques, of course.
Legacy leaving it there for Sale. Up to DeCoff. Brings it in off the glass. Hodson has to drop it off. Cardiff moving up, number 2, bumps his man. Aggressive work by Cardiff. And we've seen it all night. The Niagara Falls defensemen love to pinch up and commit to keep the puck in the offensive zone. Bannister coming up for Sault Ste. Marie. Up for Kowalsky. Down into the corner. Intranuovo trying to tuck it in front. Kowalsky moving in there. Thunder start out. Maxwell. Up ahead to DeCoff. In over the line. Barely kept his balance and was able to slide it in. And that was all he had to do because the Thunder wanted to make some changes. Simon coming out for the Hound. Up ahead, Campbell tried to knock it down. Kowalsky moving up. He's tied up. And Intranuovo with a sharp angle shot. That's handled by Legacy. Brown. Up ahead, Morrow picks it up. Steps in, back for Brown. Tapped it back for Simon, moving up. Puck fired in by Schuster. Nice stop by Hodson. Here's Campbell with a shot. Head stop, loose in front. Played to the side. Campbell swatting at it, and the puck cleared out.
Boy, Todd Simon left all alone in front to deflect that shot, and that's the last guy in the world that Sault Ste. Marie wants to leave open.
Here comes Brown, barging down the side. Back for Simon. Back in for Brown. And the puck cleared out. Yob kicks it into gear. Eats up that puck. Gets it in front. Denomme scores! Denomme puts Sault Ste. Marie up by 1.
Well, give a big assist here to Tony Yob, who stole the puck off the Niagara Falls defenseman Dan Crisco and gets it to Denomme, who makes a nice deke to go around Manny Legacy, and that puck just deflected off Legacy's outstretched stick and over. But look at him just blow by 2 Niagara Falls Thunders's players. Dan Crisco cannot hold on to him, and he opens up some open ice for Jason Denomme.
5:02, the time of the goal. Denomme gets it. Job picks up the assist. And the Greyhounds storming from behind, but here comes Simon storming into Brown, shooting it just wide. Up around the board, Corriveau keeps it in. Here's Brown, down in front, couldn't get it onto his stick. Miller's going to start back. Up for Denomme. In over the line for Yob, but he was offside. It's heating up. Sault Ste. Marie up by a goal.
Tony Yob has been physically dominant all night, and here he dominates two Niagara Falls Thunder just inside the blue line to get the puck to Jason Denomme. And Denomme, the former Oshawa General, does a nice job of going around Manny Legacy and sneaking that puck over his stick.
The Thunder led at 1 point, 5-3. That lead disappearing like a fantasy. Here's Junkin. High shot in. It's gloved down by Hodson. Matsos can't get it out. Wetzel swiping at it. Here's Cardiff. Taps it up ahead. Junkin with a chop at it. Cardiff keeps it in. A wrist shot bounces it right in front. Hodson made the first shot. And Jarrett Reid picks it up for Sault Ste. Marie. And back behind the play, they're tied up. And finally, referee Bill Prisniak whistling play dead. Todd Gleason exchanging words and glares, among other things, with Jason Clark of the Thunder.
Big collision up against the board. Gleason and Clark going down. Clark losing his gloves, his stick, just with everything else. But a good battle here in front of that. That's where that started, and then it just moved off to in behind the net. And you'll see here Gleason gets very physical. Very fortunate that referee Bill Prisniak in the background there did not call a penalty for him hauling down Jason Clark in a rather illegal fashion, I might suggest.
You might.
I might, and I did. Jason Clark, a pretty tough customer. Over 200 penalty minutes for the Niagara Falls Thunder. And that's his job, is to mix it up in front of the net.
He played junior B hockey last year. And has stepped up with the big club this year. 215 penalty minutes. Schuster clears it in. Simon going after it. Can't get it out. Steos along the boards, hanging in tough against Simon. Puck gets by him this time. Schuster back to pick it up. Kowalsky up there forechecking. And the puck fired up over the glass in the play. Neil Schuster did not play the last time we saw the Niagara Falls Thunder play in their series against the London Knights. In fact, he missed that entire series, I believe.
This is his first game back since sustaining a shoulder separation in Game 2 of the playoffs back against the Detroit Ambassadors. And his absence really did hurt, even though the Thunder's been relatively successful since then, rallying to beat Detroit and then almost sweeping London. He has been one of their steadiest defensive defensemen this year.
Here's Steos. And Schuster starts off. And a two-line pass with 13:23 to go in the third period.
Well, big Chris Simon getting ready to mix it up with Maxwell. Maxwell is not afraid of anybody. Absolutely fearless in his first year with the Thunder. You might want to be a little bit worried about this guy, who is one of the Ontario Hockey League bad boys, although he can play very sound hockey. When he's disciplined and on his game, he can be a dominant, maybe the most dominant left winger in the league. He just got to try and cut down on a league-leading 38 games in league suspensions this year.
He was limited to only 20 games last year because of injuries.
Only 20-odd games last year, got dreadfully out of shape with the Ottawa 67. And if you only play half a season or less than half a season, it's going to be difficult to be in game shape. I'm sure the Philadelphia Flyers would love to see him straighten around.
Puck in front, DeCoff scores! Mike DeCoff with the hat trick, ties it up.
Well, we talked all night about the turnovers. Niagara Falls giving the puck to Sault Ste. Marie. Here, the shoe was on the other foot. They've got control of the puck in the corner. Good forechecking there. And the puck comes right there. They turned it over in the corner. That comes right out to DeCoff, who positions himself well. 3 Greyhounds behind the net. Chris Simon coming back in from the point to do some back checking. But Mark McKeer is taken off the puck here by Jeff Rossick. Rossick gets a beautiful backhand pass out. and then it flipped back out to him. Good job by Maxwell to be the intermediary on that pass from Rossman out to DeCoff. A hat trick for him, and we all tied up again.
And hasn't he been a nice thorn in the side of his former teammates? Here comes Denomme. Simon through center, to the outside, and finally slams on the brakes and loses the puck. And the puck cleared up over the boards, another play. 12:34 to go in the third period. Tonight's TSN Turning Point brought to you by Minute Muffler.
The one and only Great Canadian Brake Sale is now on. Save 30% on all brake shoes and pads. Only at Minute Muffler and Brake.
I'm Paul Romanek with Bob McKenzie at Memorial Gardens in Sault Ste. Marie. Game 1 of this Emms Division Championship Series, Ontario Hockey League semifinal. And we are knotted at 6. And once again, the big matchup, Miller at center for Sault Ste. Marie against Simon for Niagara Falls. Best against best. Here's Imber. Brown along the boards, knocked it loose, but Yob steals for the Greyhounds, and away he comes to Denomme in over the blue line. Tried to slip in behind. Had it knocked away. Loose in front now. Not out. Goudie moving it in. And back comes Simon from the Thunder with Brown trailing. Here's Simon. Gets it in front. Morrow couldn't get to it. And you can hear the fans reacting to some interference being run back behind the play on Tony Yob. Here comes Miller in. Back for Denomme. Backhand shot right in front. Morrow will gobble it up. And he starts back. Morrow up to the line. It's been a long shift for him. Top of the slot. Scores! And Simon says, we're up by a goal. Whoa, what a play by Chris Simon. And the Greyhounds are very upset right now. They think there should have been a penalty call on the play way back behind. But nothing there. Ethan Morrow, the big rookie winger, comes up over the blue line. Does a good job of holding on to this puck. This kid is going to be a great hockey player. And just going to the net. Heads-up play by the young rookie to get the puck to Simon. Watch Simon position himself so perfectly to take just a tremendous pass from his line mate, Ethan Morrow. Simon gets the goal. Morrow picks up an assist at 8:18, and the Thunder storming back, and now leading by a score of 7-6. Well, the fans and the Greyhound bench were very upset behind the play. Scott Campbell and Tony Yob were mixing it up. Now, there's the first play, and there's certainly an embellishment on the part of Yob, who a few moments ago had crashed into the goaltender. That's why Campbell's mad at him. Campbell gives him a shot right in front of referee Bill Krasniak, and Yob goes for the Academy Award. No penalty on the call. Johansson back after it. Being checked by Clark. Johansson gets away from him. Up ahead for Jarrett Reid. Charging up there is Matsos. He's got MacDonald in front. Reid was up there too, but he couldn't get it to him. 11:08 to play third period. 7-6, the Thunder leading. The lead has changed hands a couple of times in this game. Cardiff moving it back in, but Clark was in there away offside. He has to come out and clear the zone. Johansson to Matsos. Cross ice for MacDonald. He's got Reid breaking for the net, but MacDonald is stiffed by Korovo as he stepped into him. Matsos keeps it in. Shoots just wide. Rebound cleared back down the ice. What a hit by Korovo. He just laid out on MacDonald. Peter Johansson up off the board. Kowalsky tried to pick his way through center. Maxwell knocked it back in over the line. Here's Hodson up off the boards for Simon. 10:18 to play third period. The lead has changed hands 4 times in this game. DeCoff will slap it in. He's got the hat trick for the Thunder. Johansson being watched by Maxwell. Here's Kowalsky now for Sault Ste. Marie. Lead pass up ahead. Here's Intranuovo. He's got the speed. He's got the chance. Didn't get the goal. Centers it now. Swiped away. Up off the boards and outside the line. What a burst of speed by Intranuovo. Off the board. Kowalsky with Intranuovo going to the front of the net. Didn't get it to him. Bannister waits for his mates to get onside and clears it in. Sales back there to pick it up. Number 42. Up for DeCoff. Kowalsky takes a swat at him and the puck is cleared down the ice. 9:17 to play, third period. Niagara Falls leading at 7-6. Kowalsky knocked down along the boards by Morrow. Here's Bannister. To Matier. Up ahead for Yob. He's been making things happen tonight. He gets it ahead to Miller. Up there with Denomme, right in on goal. Just fired it wide. Into the corner. Miller tried to center it, knocked down by Simon, and he will start back on the attack. Gets it up ahead for Brown. Sharp angle. That's kicked away by Hodson. Right back to Brown in the corner. Simon is in back of the net as well. Checked on the play by Goudie. Up off the board for Yob. Coming across center up to Miller. Denomme's up there too. Here's Miller shooting one. Rebound comes out and Legacy will smother it.
Well, Todd Simon picks up a beautiful goal on a great play by Ethan Morrow, the big rookie. Watch how he just controls the puck inside the blue line. Heads up pass. Threads it right past Soo Greyhounds and between goalie Kevin Hodson and Todd Simon. Simon, keep your head up. Boy, oh boy, he's kept his head up all night, but not because he's looking for Greyhound players running him over. And here's a big hit. Rick Corriveau puts Tom MacDonald down. Rick Corriveau makes his presence felt.
Miller up on the faceoff against Jeff Rawson. And Rawson wins the draw, gets it back for Sales. And here comes Sales. Some good moves to get to the line. Almost cut around Johansson. He'll get chased into the corner, and he crunches him. Chopping at it down in the corner. And finally, Hodson will just hang on, and we'll have a face-off down in Greyhound territory with 8:11 to go in the third period. 7-6, the Thunder leading.
Well, Kevin Hodson seems to settle down after a very shaky first period. The goals that have been scored on him were in the second period, here in the third, have not been of the bad variety, which two in the first were.
It's been a fairly cleanly played hockey game, only 14 penalty minutes. Only 3 power plays in the game. Sault Ste. Marie 1 for 2 on their power play. Niagara Falls 1 for 1. Here's Schuster. Chopped it in. There was a crowd in front. He'll get it back again, and the puck wouldn't sit for him, and it sails well wide of the target. And there's Clark down in front of the net, jamming it up there with Peter Johansson.
Well, we talked about Jason Clark being a tough guy. He's mixing it up with Johansson, a Swedish rookie who's only played 4 games since called up from their Tier 2 affiliate in Timmins. Coach George Burnett, something of a seesaw battle here tonight. Niagara Falls back in front again. Not particularly impressed with what's going on. And Coach Ted Nolan can't be happy here on home ice. A lot of inconsistency out there for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. It looked like gangbusters at times, but right now they're trailing in the game. And really, an inability to control Todd Simon has been one of the big factors.
Here's Schuster with a shot. That's tipped. Rebound at the side. And it hit the side. Clark took a swat at it. Out to center. Junkin banking it right back in. Wetzel comes up to forecheck. Wetzel steals it, cuts in front, shoots, and just missed that. Wetzel wound up from point-blank range. And that may have hit the post. We'll take another look and see in a few moments. Here's Schuster. Throwing it down and in for Hodson. Fires it up ahead for Matsos. Corriveau plays it. Sault Ste. Marie making some player changes on the go. And Corriveau just dumping it out to center. This is Matier. for Bannister. They'll clear it in. Jarrett Reid hustling in after it. Couldn't quite get there in time. Legacy clearing it out of his reach. Crisco moving it up to center. And Simon will shoot it right back in for the Hounds. 6:50 to play, third period. 7-6 is the score. Niagara Falls leading this game. Intranuovo in back of the net for Kowalsky. Centers it in front. A real jam up. Simon, look at him popping away and couldn't deliver the payload on net. And the puck cleared down the ice. And icing called on the Thunder.
Chris Simon, a big physical presence in front of that Niagara Falls net. He just stood in there. They tried to move him. They couldn't move him, and then he started chopping. He saw the puck somewhere down there, and if he had to knock off a couple of ankles or legs or feet to get at it, he was going to try that, and then when he couldn't, he finally came up high on Corriveau. Down at the other end, Todd Wetzel came out from the corner and fired this shot. Bingo, right off the post. It beat Kevin Hodson, went right behind him, came out the other side. Very fortunate it wasn't 8-6 for Niagara Falls. Kevin Hodson gets a little help from a goaltender's best friend.
I wondered how he missed that as he wound it up from about 8 feet out. And he, in fact, had the goalie beaten, but it hit the post. Miller on the face-off. Up there with Yob. Miller seeing a lot of ice time in this third period. Being double-shifted so far. Tied up along the boards, and we'll have another face-off down in Thunder territory with 6:22 to go.
Well, Todd Simon's got most of the attention here tonight, and rightly so. But Colin Miller's had a pretty good game as well, and he's made some very nifty passes to try and spring his line mates for scoring opportunities. Former Niagara Falls Thunder player, 4th year in the league. Very gifted offensive hockey player who sees the ice extremely well. Very much like Simon in that respect, although he is a bit bigger. Still looking for some interest from National Hockey League teams in him as well. They both find themselves in the same boat.
Although he did have a tryout with the LA Kings this past fall. Got an invite to camp. Miller did. And offside pass. Miller couldn't get out in time. And there has been Miller's nemesis most of this night. What a game Simon has had.
He's got the sweater tucked in, a la Wayne Gretzky. Now, is that the right side or the wrong side, Paul? How's your National Hockey League trivia?
Well, I guess we'll find out on Sunday for sure, because we'll see the LA Kings in action after a little respite.
Yeah, good news. The NHL strike over. Players ratifying the agreement today. 61 dissenters apparently, but nevertheless more than 400 voting for it. So hockey is back on in the National Hockey League.
Puck comes loose. Goudie at the line. Good work to keep it in. Down into the corner, here's Campbell. He's an opening, and away he comes. Up to center. He's got Simon with him. Gets it through. Simon in on goal. Scores! Simon does it again.
What a performance we're seeing by Todd Simon tonight, who just sneaks around the Greyhound defense on a nice pass, and then just flips the puck over top of the goaltender. That's Campbell coming up the ice with the puck. Campbell does a nice give and go, stop here, and just Simon just sneaks back around, and as he's falling, a great individual effort. You can't teach that. That's just natural ability. Campbell, the former Peterborough Pete defenseman, does a nice job of holding up the defenseman. That's Goudie, number 7, who tries to make a sweeping dive check at Simon, but Simon's already in the back door, and as he's going down, having tripped on Goudie's stick, he managed to get the puck up over top. The goaltender, Kevin Hodson. What a performance. A great individual effort tonight by Todd Simon.
A hat trick for Todd Simon. He scored 2 in a row here in this third period, and his team is up by a score of 8-6. Here come the Greyhounds. Gavey in over the blue line, knocked away from him. Legacy just leaving it there for Sales. Jarrett Reid trying to knock that down. Here's Gleason. Being shadowed by Clark. Flying up there is Wetzel, steals it in the corner. Wetzel looking in front. Gleason trying to tie him up. And Johansson will start back for Sault Ste. Marie. Up to Pappas. Getting in over the blue line, cross ice there, going after his Gavey. He's tied up along the boards. Legacy taps it to the side. Pappas going after it. Back towards the line. Gleason with a shot. Loose at the side. Pappas was in front, but he was being tied up on the play. Here comes Simon again. Look out. And he's just going to eat up time and wait for the reinforcements to come up. 4:20 to play. 8-6. Sault Ste. Marie trailing Niagara Falls by 2 goals in the opening game of this Ontario Hockey League semifinal series. Sault Ste. Marie, the defending league champion. Mateer steps in. Top of the slot, but no further. Simon just banking it off the boards and out.
Simon ever go off the ice?
A perpetual shift in the third period. Lead pass up there for Morrow. He'll go after it, bumps there with Bannister. Imber up ahead to Kowalsky. On the move, that's Intranuovo bursting in over the blue line, but he didn't time the burst quite correctly. He was offside.
Well, it's been the Todd Simon show tonight. 3 goals for the Niagara Falls #1 center, the leading scorer in the league. And here he takes a nice pass from Scott Campbell. Breaks around Briane Goudie, who dives at him, trying to knock the puck off his stick. And as he falls, a dramatic shot going over top of Kevin Hodson. And right now, that stands as a huge goal. Obviously, 3:38 left. Gives Niagara Falls a 2-goal lead. And they have not won here for a couple of years in Sault Ste. Marie, and they're very close to doing it right now.
They haven't defeated the Greyhounds since January of 1991. Winless in their last 13 games against them. In the last 16 games, they have only 1 win. Simon swings in over the blue line. Shoot! And Legacy will pounce in the rebound, and Chris Simon comes crashing through for good measure.
Well, Chris Simon takes his term in the limelight here, and he comes in, fires a shot, and follows it up very strongly by basically trying to decapitate the goalie, Manny Legacy. Simon comes across the blue line, holds on to it, allows everyone to go to the front of the net. It's all jammed up, but watch him come through looking for this rebound, and the stick right in there as he tries to skewer goaltender Manny Legacy. Big Philadelphia Flyer prospect gets mixed up with Campbell. Killer Kowalsky, the captain, steps into his aid. Simon, a native of Wawa, Ontario, played his minor hockey here for the Sioux Bandom team. He came over from the Ottawa 67s and has played for Mike Lenarduzzi.
Second-round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers in 1990, and has certainly all the physical traits of a big league player. He's big, physical, has a mean streak.
Well, he's going to have to show a lot more discipline to play in the National Hockey League. He's going to have to get in a lot better shape than he is right now. Referee Bill Prisniak giving the Thunder a little heck for trying to change lines out of order.
Miller facing off against Simon on the face-off. Greyhounds down by a pair, just over 3 minutes to go. Yob throwing himself into the play, and that is going to cost him. Although we may have offsetting. Indeed, it's going to be offsetting. Yob gets an elbowing penalty, and a roughing penalty being called, I believe, against Simon.
It's not Simon, then Campbell. Campbell jumped in because it was Todd Simon who was being run by Tony Yob. Yob came right through and really pounded him. There's no question what that was. They're trying to soften him up a little bit. These two teams meet again here tomorrow night. You'll see Simon up against the boards, and he's got his head down at this point. At the last second, he looks up and he dodges the shot, and he pounds Tony Yob back in the face. Jumps out of it as a good offensive hockey player should. And it is Simon off in the penalty box. And those have been the 2 best players on the ice tonight. Really, Tony Yob doesn't have the same offensive stats that maybe Jason Denomme has in this game. And Yob has been a real catalyst for the Soo Greyhounds offensively, and there's no question Simon's been the big show for the Niagara Falls Thunder. But right now, that's a trade the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds will take because Simon has been killing them. They said these two teams back here at it again tomorrow night in Game 2. And I'm sure that Tony Yob was hoping maybe to soften him up just a little bit for tomorrow night's game and to keep him under control in this one.
Yob playing just a tremendous hockey game tonight for Sault Ste. Marie. 3:07 to go. Offsetting penalty, so the teams remain at even strength. And we've got a stick measurement coming up. Bill Prisniak over to grab the measuring tool at the bench. And it is a Niagara Falls player's stick he's being measured. It looks as though it's number 5, Rick Corbo, who is looking on.
And right now they're more concerned with the depth or the height of the blade than they are, apparently, with the curve.
It's an illegal stick. So the little bit of strategy from Ted Nolan, the Sault Ste. Marie coach, works much to the chagrin of George Burnett. And a power play chance coming up.
Coaches hate that penalty. Absolutely hate it, especially in the playoffs where it's so crucial. And that's why a lot of teams will have the trainer go through the stick rack before the game with a stick gauge and check every single stick in there to make sure that it's got the legal curve and legal length, legal depth of the blade.
Well, I'm not sure if this had anything to do with it or not, but Tony Yob down in the penalty box for the Greyhounds got rid of his stick, and he has asked for a new one. The penalty box is right down behind the Sault Ste. Marie bench, right down beside it, rather. And when the stick measurement was being taken, he got rid of his and asked for a new one.
Well, at that point in the game, there's usually a big run. The trainer all of a sudden exchanging sticks for about a half a dozen players on each team. They start getting a little bit worried.
So a 4-on-3 power play for Sault Ste. Marie.
Lots of open ice out there, Paul. One of the great things about junior hockey.
And the way the lead has changed hands in this game, don't turn off just yet. Just over 3 minutes to go, and it's only 8-6 for Niagara Falls. Sault Ste. Marie in the power play. Back to Imber. Lots of traffic down in front. Intranuovo. Back to Imber. Shooting. Intranuovo shoots. And Legacy will cover it up.
Well, it was like a total eclipse of the sun for Manny Legacy in front there. Big Chris Simon stood right on the doorstep, right in front of him. Manny Legacy couldn't see anything. He was dodging back and forth trying to get out of the way. Some good puck movement there, and it's Ralph Intranuovo back to Imber on the point. Imber takes the shot, and look at Legacy looking around him. That ended up going off Simon's leg and back out. Intranuovo got the shot back in again. But watch this shot right here is blocked by none other than Chris Simon, who was trying to block the view of Manny Legacy. Intranuovo fires the shot back, and again it doesn't get through. Chris Simon tries to get a stick on it.
Here's Intranuovo. Across to Imber. Again, Simon in front. There's a shot, and what a grab. No goal. Legacy made the grab, and as he spun around, the puck went towards the net, and referee Bill Prisniak right there to wave it off.
This is not going to go over real well in this building. Bill Prisniak waved it off right away, no question about it. The question is, did Manny Legacy have it in his glove for very long? A very quick whistle, and Coach Ted Nolan obviously not too happy about it. That would have brought the team to be within one.
Okay, we're going to play it back to replay and just listen for the whistle and try to hear when the whistle blows. We'll just play the audio. Here's Imber moving it up ahead. Miller at the side, swiped away by Steos, trying to get it out. And they'll tie it up with 1:17 to go on the power play.
Let's do that one more time because it was awfully close. Boy, oh boy, that was awfully close. I'll tell you this. Now, when the whistle went, there was no question the puck was not in the glove of Manny Legacy. Whether or not the puck was over the line or not is another matter, but referee Bill Prisniak blew the whistle.
Here's Intranuovo. Back to Imber. He'll step up, shoot. Legacy to save. Great play by Imber to keep it in. There's a bullet. Legacy stops that, too. Big stops by Legacy. Twice. Intranuovo back to pick it up. 56 seconds to go on the power play for Sault Ste. Marie. Here comes Intranuovo. Goaltender skating towards the bench, and the Greyhounds now with a two-man advantage as Jarrett Reid comes out to join the attack. Here's Simon for Miller. Back to Imber. Shooting. Rebound in front. Intranuovo. Hands on it. Kept in. Here's Simon. Back to Imber. Moves it up for Miller. Over to Simon. Shoots it in there. Here's Jarrett Reid trying to center it. Reid waiting. Centers it. Miller scores. It is Chris Simon who pulls the trigger, and it's 8-7.
Well, a couple of local boys team up here. Jarrett Reid gets his puck in the corner. He looks like he's going to put it behind the net to Colin Miller on the far low post. Instead, he comes right out into the slot. Chris Simon is perfectly positioned. Chris Simon had a stick on the ice, and all he had to do was redirect that shot on the one-timer. It looked like it was going to go behind the net. It didn't. It went out to the slot, and Chris Simon fired that one past a very surprised Manny Legacy. We got a great hockey game here. 1:28 left. One goal difference. Coach Ted Nolan's team gets that power play goal that was just allowed a few minutes ago back on a play by Chris Simon.
And right now, Nolan looking pretty cagey in calling for the stick measurement on Niagara Falls defenseman Rick Corvo. It was found to be an illegal stick and created a power play chance for Sault Ste. Marie. The Hounds pulled their goalie and, in effect, had a two-man advantage. And Chris Simon pulled his team to within one, and we now have a timeout called.
Well, good strategy. If the rule's in the book, you use it. Of course, they were risking a chance that there wouldn't have been an illegal stick and they could have been called for delay of game. Jarrett Reid is a very gifted offensive hockey player, very bright kid who played for the Sioux Legion minor teams coming up through here in the ranks locally. And he does a great job here of identifying the open man. And look at Chris Simon all alone out in front of the net. He looks like a towering redwood out in front. He just keeps that puck nice and low along the ice past Manny Legacy, who didn't have much chance on that.
Timeout to Ste. Marie, by the way, with 1:28 to go and still 21 seconds to go, and the offsetting penalty to Todd Simon of the Niagara Falls Thunder and Tony Yob of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
Kevin Hodson going back to the net for now. How long he'll stay in there is anybody's guess. Probably just until the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds get the puck down and in control in the offensive zone. You know, Paul, with Todd Simon in the penalty box and Tony Yob in the penalty box, it created a bad situation for Niagara Falls because not only is Todd Simon their best power play man and their best offensive player, he's also their best penalty killer. He leads the playoffs in shorthanded goals with 3, and he's been dynamite tonight trying to kill penalties.
What a great game to start this series off. They're back at it tomorrow night with Game 2. And here comes Intranuovo. Swings in deep. And Hodson heads to the bench. The Greyhounds get an extra attacker out there as they storm the net. And it's covered up there at the side.
The face-off is going outside the blue line. A very key call here by referee Bill Prisniak. Referee Manny Legacy calling for it. I'm not sure whether the net was knocked off the moorings or whether the puck slipped up on the back, exactly what happened on that, but there's no question that this face-off is going to be outside the blue line, and as a result, Kevin Hodson has to return to the net.
And George Burnett moving around a little bit now.
I must be getting down to crunch time. 1:16 left. Two teams playing 4 aside, and Todd Simon about to step out of the penalty box, as is Tony Yob. Anytime Simon's been on the ice tonight, he's been a threat. Let's watch for him coming out of the box.
Intranuovo fires it in. Hodson still in his net. Campbell deep in his own end for Niagara Falls. Hodson is still in. Yob knocks it down. Trying to get it across in front. Hodson hesitating and heading towards the bench. Yob hustling up after the puck to Ste. Marie with an extra attacker and one last gasp, trailing by 1. and the puck just squirts outside the line. Imber very coolly works it back up to Yob. He'll come in with Miller and Jarrett Reid, but that's broken up. 41 seconds left. Imber fires it in. Wicked bounce. Here's Intranuovo. Sharp angle. Got it in front of the net. Imber charging up, and he gets caught. Couldn't keep it in. And the puck knocked into the Sault Ste. Marie bench. 26 seconds to go. 8-7. The Thunder trying to hang on in this opening game and break a 13-game winless streak against Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, it'll be a huge psychological boost for the Thunder if they can hang on to win. This Greyhound team has been their nemesis. Coach George Burnett finished second to them last year, swept in 4 games last year, and to come in here on the game 1, and Sault Ste. Marie, a very difficult building to win on, where the Soo Greyhounds only lost 3 games all during the regular season, will be a great advantage for his team as they come back here for game 2 tomorrow night. Looks as though they're going to leave Hodson out with the face-off just in between the red line and the blue line on the Niagara Falls half of center ice. What a game this guy's played tonight. 3 goals. No question he's been the best player on the ice. If the Niagara Falls Thunder are going to do some damage in the playoffs this year and beat the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in this Emms Division final, this is the man that's going to lead them to victory.
Here's Imber. Across for Intranuovo. Gets loose. Jarrett Reid following up. Gibson dives to the corner. Centers it in front. It's loose in the slot. Imber couldn't keep it in. And Simon will hustle up. And he was chopped down, but no penalty called. And that will do it. The Niagara Falls Thunder win game number 1 of this Emms Division final. 8-7, the final score.
George Burnett is not at all happy. He did not like the big swing of a stick by Chris Simon, chasing down Todd Simon.
So the Thunder lead the series 1-0 and break a 13-game winless streak against Sault Ste. Marie. We'll be back in a moment.
So glad you're here. Maybe we'll be lucky. If nobody's here today will want to buy the house, and we can stay a little longer. Hello? Carlton, hello. No, we didn't have any buyers, just lookers. And, you know, from what my sister tells me, it's going to be quite some time before the market turns around, so... What? What? Oh, I see. Well, yes, that's good news for all concerned. Right. Thank you for calling. Mother? There's a bank. I contacted them and offered to pay full asking price for the house. In cash. Oh, no. Alex doesn't live here anymore.
Hey, little mama. What do you want to do to celebrate? I should go down to Luigi's and just like...
Reggae New York! I tell you, man, those spikers will do the limbo all over your tongue and play your taste buds like a steel drum. So make it right, man.
Tonight, man. Like Rice Krispies? Try new Triple. We think you'll do a triple taste. Triple is crisp like Rice Krispies and tastes so good you might just do a triple taste. Triples has tasty Rice Crisp, hearty wheat crisp, and sunny corn crisp. For a taste that could have you doing a triple taste. So if you like Rice Krispies, taste the triple. We think you'll do a triple taste. Remind you of anybody's face?
You should talk.
Hey, where's Howard? I haven't seen him all week. Maybe his face exploded.
Maybe you're so surprised.
What, you get a head transplant?
No, I told him about Clearasil.
Clearasil BP Plus is a benzoyl peroxide treatment that fights bacteria and reduces acne pimples for a noticeable improvement in just 5 days.
But, Harold...
If you're not satisfied with Clearasil BP Plus in 5 days, we'll give you your money back.
Still on for Saturday, Harold?
Huh?
Oh, Mike's gonna love this one.
Perfect, good girl. Perfect.
Too romantic to look.
You'll be happy in your hand.
Whatever the occasion or sentiment, come into Shoppers Drug Mart and choose from our vast selection of Carlton cards.
I'll tell you mine if you send me yours.
Not a chance.
This year, say Happy Easter with the Carlton cards from Shoppers Drug Mart.
You know, the Hyde House is more than a famous leather store. It's lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch on the premises at Jack Canny's Table. Come and explore the heart of Canada's leather town. It's worth the drive to Acton.
It's spring of 1992. A beautiful, crisp day here in Winnetka. I'm Beatrice Reid, your maternal grandmother. You don't know me because, unfortunately, I died shortly after the videotape was made.
Mama!
We're rolling. But through the miracle of modern technology, we can spend some time together, despite my demise.
All right, cut. Mother, why are you doing this?
For the grandchildren I'll never see.
How do you know you'll never see them?
Georgie, do you remember your grandmother, Rachel? Daddy's mother?
How could I? She died before I was born.
I rest my case.
Oh, maybe it would have been nice to have had a videotape of her, but that does not explain the